Sustainability in the construction industry. Our guest for today is leading a company that aims to promote eco-friendly construction through innovative materials and products. Ria Liza is the woman behind Polite Technology Incorporated.
A woman of today was a mere dream for a woman of yesterday. History has shown how difficult it is for a woman to cement her space in the realm of science. But today, we take the lead. We set the standards. We are in the front lines. We are women. We work to create a world where a woman can choose science as her journey, where technology is her uninterrupted road, and progress is her destination. We work to create a world where a woman in science is the norm, not the exception. A world where she is a constant educator, innovator, mentor, and leader. A world that is, and will continue to be, an inclusive and diverse global scientific community.
I am Dr. Ria Liza. I am an engineer scientist, and I am a woman in science.
Hello everyone, I am Anne Gabriel Longhoko and I will be with you for tonight as your co-host. I describe myself as the mediocre writer from National University, Manila. It is another night for us to learn and engage ourselves with how wonderful knowledge and wisdom can be when applied. The objective of this channel is to promote the feminine genius advocacy. One of the many goals is woman empowerment and gender equality through education and livelihood. One way to educate is by inviting guests of any gender who will impart their personal journey, challenges, and breakthroughs that will give invaluable learnings to viewers. By becoming a guest, he or she is tagged as a friend of the feminine genius. Tonight, we will have another co-host, Miss Ella Wans, who is an IT specialist, research coordinator, an educator, a vlogger, a practitioner, and she also promotes the Team Helpful to help newbie YouTubers. Miss Ella Wans is also an industry practitioner, researcher, and soon to be a doctor of information technology and financial advisor. And now let's welcome our host for tonight, Dr. Ria Liza C. Canlas, who is a civil engineer, materials engineer, and patent agent. Dr. Ria also promotes the feminine genius as a female making impact in male-dominated industries such as construction, manufacturing, and creatives. She was also featured in several media outfits as an ASEAN designer and a woman in science. Dr. Ria is an industry practitioner, educator, researcher, innovator, inventor, technologist, scientist, entrepreneur, patent professional, and science communicator. Together, let's welcome Dr. Ria Liza and Miss Ella Wans.
Okay. Hi, Ella. So, hello
Hello,
and
ma'am.
welcome to my channel and, of course, my channel, Dr. Ria Liza. And this channel is meant to promote the feminine genius advocacy. Our membership is the same as our um, attributes of the feminine genius. And these attributes are humility, kindness, patience, good character, industry, virtue, piety, and devotion. As a feminine genius, I spread lessons by featuring people from my network of any gender to share their journeys, their challenges, and their breakthroughs. Because we believe that listening to other people's story is called humility, and sharing is called generosity. We are somehow influenced by the lives of other people that we can apply on our own selves and be a better version of who we are. Remember, life is short. Let us live our lives to the fullest and let us be inspired by our guest and our co host later. By the way, we are live via Facebook page, The Feminine Genius, and via Facebook groups, The Feminine Genius Groups Philippines. And for the Feminine Genius and Development and Direction, we'd like to thank Bon Labora. And of course, all our guests are featured in one book chapter of the book titled The Feminine Genius Myths with my co-author, the mediocre writer Anne. Anne will be joining us later. And of course, this will be published by Bon Laboras Agimat Publishing. Hi, Ella. Hello.
Hello, Ma'am Ria. Good evening and good evening to all of your viewers out there. Ayan, mega love shoutout to all of you, especially to the early bird no na viewer ni Dr. Ria Liza. Ayan oh. It was Ernesto Lingo. Ayan. Good evening, sir. Thank you for tuning in as early as actually siya yung pinaka early bird kanina pero 9 na yan, 9:02. And yes, I've seen a lot of viewers from Facebook. Please don't forget to shout out your name kasi po meron po tayong pa-attendance to every Saturday po ito. So please don't forget to shout out your name para maisama ko kayo sa attendance. And this will serve as your entry on December sa pag-grand raffle po ng ating host. So, ayan, hi there sa mga Facebook viewers po ni Dr. Yaliza. And of course, sa kanyang mga viewers po dito sa YouTube channel. Good evening to all of you. Shout out to Team Helpful. Please invite more friends to tune in dito po mismo sa YouTube channel ni Dr. Yaliza. And sa mga hindi pa po member po ng The Feminine Genius, ayan po, you can actually select kung ano po ang gusto ninyong character by clicking on the video of Dr. Ria Liza at the bottom part. Meron po tayong makikitang join button dyan. Ayan. So, mamimili lang po kayo kung ano po yung character na nag-fit po sa inyong sarili. So, what are you waiting for? Ayan. So, wag natin patagalin. Nagpa-member na po tayo. So, mega love shoutout pala kay Tiffany World. Ganyan po ang reflection po ng inyong channel kapag po member na kayo kay Dr. Yaliza. Magiging color green po siya na meron pong parang dollar sign sa dulo ng inyong channel name. Kaya unique po yan at the same time makakapag-shoutout po kayo ng mga customized na emoji po ng ating host na si Dr. Yaliza na meron pa doong doctor na emoji, may Ria, may Liza, at meron pang hi, may love. Ayan. So, ayan, what are you waiting for? Napakadami po ng benefits po ng membership po ni Dr. Yaliza. So, start po tayo ulit ng ating new attendance po for today. And please don't forget again to shout out your name para maisama ko kayo sa pa-attendance. As usual, we will have a short game, di ba, Ma'am Ria, later. So let's have fun with our guests. It's a Pinoy Henyo game. So we will ask the viewers later to guess 5 significant words that our guest mentioned during the presentation. So GCash prizes will be given to the winners and the amount is based on number of viewers. So please invite more friends to watch the live streaming of Dr. Yaliza every Saturday, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight. So Dr. Yaliza has been going live every Saturday. So today is our episode 82. Tama ba, Ma'am Ria? Grabe, ang haba na pala ng live streaming ni Ma'am Ria. And sobrang kapal na ng book siguro no kapag na-compile na siya. And please do not forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, like and share the YouTube channel of Dr. Yaliza. And please, syempre, idamay niyo na po dyan si Ella Wands. So please don't forget to watch first the video of our host before subscribing to her channel. Ayan, so feel free to write your questions later on the comment section so our guest can answer. Okay? So shout out to all of you and good evening to all of you out there. Shout out po Tiffany World and Showcase World. Please invite more team from Team Shine, Team Lipat Universe, Team Lipat
Ritz Gold.
Main.
Gold Ritz. So,
Yun, si Ritz
Team
International
Gold,
Main. Yung mga ka-team po ni Ma'am Ria, no? So, mga OFW kasi yun, kaya mga busy people. Pero hopefully makadaan kayo no, sa live streaming ni Ma'am Ria. Like a love shoutout to all of you, taga Team Ritz International Main. And I think yung team Marites mo ni Ma'am Ria, yun meron din yang Marites na team.
Yes.
Yun, kayo na ang maraming team.
All
Yan, so
right.
back to you, Ma'am Ria.
All right, tonight we'll be having a very special co-host. Siyempre kasi special yung guest natin, dapat special din yung co-host natin. And of course,
Yes.
everybody very familiar with our co-host kasi ilang beses na din naman siya nag-co-host. Pero siya yung second
Yes.
guest natin nung nag-start tayo live streaming. Okay. Of course, we have Dr. Castor Deo Caris, a senior science research specialist at the DOST Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, and he contributed to the molecular understanding of the role of mortalin in manipulating aging and immortalization. An award-winning scientist and broadcaster, a Golden Dove awardee, a host of the Pinoy Scientist on Radyo Aguila DZSZ 1062 kHz Manila with his program every Sunday, Pinoy Scientist. Let us welcome the no other than the ano pa tawag niya sa kanya? The friendly neighborhood Pinoy scientist. Let's welcome Dr. Castor. Hello, Doc Castor.
Hi, Doc Caster.
Nakamute ka yata.
Oh, hello. I'm so sorry. Hi, Doc Ria. Hi, Ella.
Hello.
Iba na yung inyong background, merong
Of
unicorn.
course.
Ayan.
Yes.
May
And,
unicorn na, syempre.
what's the
Dapat
I'd like to know what's the significance of the unicorn and the purple, and is that pink?
nag-launch. Pink and purple. And the third, yung
Pink and
parang
purple.
red
But,
that, oo.
oh,
Nag-launch kami ng logo, Doc Castor. I think that our first year anniversary last September. But the
mm-hmm.
shoe, of course, it's basically a shoes.
Shoes.
A
Oh,
unicorn
okay.
shoes kasi feminine genius, di ba? The
Uh,
empowerment,
I just
etc.
I just wonder, why is it pink? Is the feminine genius favorite color pink?
Naku, ayoko magsalita niya kasi may
Hmm.
magiging guest tayo No, Doc Castor, kasi sa May, ang mga guest natin, multiple colors.
Multiple colors. Okay,
Multiple colors
diversity.
of
Ayan.
Juanico.
Safe
And
ka na,
Ella,
Ma'am Ria.
Ella,
Hi, sir. Hi, Doc.
ay, nakakahiga ka pa ba sa yung parang ako nahihirapan talaga sa'yo. Masyado kang
This is our feminine genius shirt,
conservative.
of course.
I should
And
get Ria, when are we going to meet?
I'll give you a male genius shirt, Doc Castor.
Yes.
Okay, meron kang
I'll
male
give you a male.
genius?
Yeah, and
Ano
the
siya?
Z genius for the kids.
Okay, ano siya? Sapatos pa rin or rubber shoes naman yung unicorn?
Sapatos. For the meantime, sapatos mo na. Saka na tayo mag-get na unicorn male shoes. Pag naglabas na natin yung mga variety of the feminine genius shoes. Abangan nila yan,
Okay.
no?
Ay, sandali lang. Pag
Alright.
ganyan naman ng shoes, baka baka hindi naman yan papasukin sa MRT. Kasi nakakaano naman.
Deadly weapon.
Meron siya, deadly weapon yan. Hindi ka papapasukin sa mall. Meron kang
Pero of course, Doc Castor, no,
Hmm.
I'm so happy for you to be mentoring our students at National University. Siyempre. More projects to come, Doc Castor.
Syempre naman, Doc Ria. BFF
Oo.
kita. I can never say no to you.
At
Yeah,
abangan,
more
di
than
ba?
yan.
Madami tayong aabangan.
Wait a minute, ha. I'm so happy that I'm mentoring the students kasi they're all winners with you around, no?
Yeah,
And I feel I'm a
salamat.
winner too. Salamat, Doc Ria.
Salamat din, Doc Castor. Alam na loading kita. At belated happy birthday, ha?
Wow, belated happy birthday, sir.
Ako ka na
Siyempre.
ako hindi kita libre, wala na ako.
No, magtitreat mo ako pag kita na natin, okay?
Bigyan mo ako ng male genius shirt. Yan ang gusto
I'll
ko.
give you, dadali ko yung male genius pag nakita tayo. Alright.
Yeah, excited.
So, okay.
Hindi tayo showbiz, ganito tayo kahit on and off, cam, ha?
Yes,
Ganyan pa rin
we are
tayo.
really pressed.
Ella,
In
we're
fact,
not, mga nanonood dyan na hindi kami, hindi kami nag-show. This is our, ganito kami, di ba, Doc Ria?
Yan yung natural
Yes.
nila na
natural.
Ano yan, BFF forever po yan. O, sige.
Oo. All right. So I think nakapag-shoutout ka na, Ella, no? Mamaya natin ituloy yung maraming shoutout. But of course, thank you for all our supporters. This time, it's time to introduce our guest for tonight. Welcome to today's episode, The Feminine Genius Speaks, the Panublix founders with the theme, How to Thrive as a Startup Company in the Philippines. This is Late Night with Dr. Ria Liza, featuring up close and personal with two very special and smart ladies, women, syempre, feminine genius. Miss Noreen Marian Bautista and Miss Claire Samantha Juanico. Meet the founders of Panublix, a tech sourcing platform and marketplace that aims to connect designers with sustainable tropical textiles and artisan crafts in Southeast Asia, starting with the Philippines. Exciting to, Doc Caser. Baka makipag-partner to kay Feminine Genius no, sa kanyang mga products. Noreen has been a co-founding social enterprises and startups since 2010 and is a certified innovation professional by the Global Innovation Management Institute. She was recognized by the World Economic Forum as a global shaper and is also one of the 40 pioneer women social entrepreneurs of Ashoka Philippines and S&P Global's Women Together for a Better Normal program. Noreen holds a Master's of Science in Innovation and Business from the ASEAN Institute of Management, where I actually met her, and in one of my, I think, a stint with as a speaker, na na-meet ko din si Noreen Women's Month last year. She is also the founder and chief igniter of SlashIgnite, a social eventure studio based in Iloilo City, and the entrepreneur in residence for marketing and programs at Kwadra TBI, the technology business incubator of Iloilo Science and Technology University. In fact, I also heard last week I had a meeting with the Shell Echo Wire, and they're very proud about Panublix, and we're discussing about Panublix. However, and her partner, her co-founder, Claire, is in fisheries or a fisheries professional in the Philippines. Claire is a fisheries. She is also interested on how spin-off companies are made from fisheries biotechnology research. Her day job is being the project development officer 2 of PGC Visayas. First, for the meantime, let us watch the video to know this more about this team, the startup. Okay, so nakaka-excite, di ba? So let us welcome one of the most promising startup in the Philippines. Let us give our virtual applause to the founders of Panublix, Noreen and Claire.
Hello, good evening, and good morning, or wherever you are signing in. Thank you for Doc Risa for having us.
Yes, hello. Nakaka-excite naman yung inyong startup, Noreen, no? So, first, we would like to give this floor muna for the introduction or the discussion to be made by Noreen muna, no, Noreen?
Sige po. Hello po, my name is Noreen Bautista, co-founder and CEO of Panublix. Yeah, so as you can see in the video, Panublix is from the Hiligaynon word Panublion, which means heritage. Kami po ni Claire ay galing Iloilo City. I've been in Iloilo City since birth, and I've always had this passion to promote our culture, especially as we were known as the textile capital of the Philippines. Yeah, so that's it. Maybe I could pass it to Claire to give her introduction.
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm a co-founder at Panublix. Actually, I'm one of the six. So aside from me, there's Bunny, Margs, AJ, and Ria. And I'm happy to be here in this in the Feminine Genius na episode, and I hope to share more about Panublix later.
Okay. So, nice to meet both of you, no? Doc Castor, have you met them? Kasi ako, para sa audience, I've met Noreen in one of a women episode of Impact Hub. Right, no, Noreen, no? Okay, Impact Hub. And then the second time I met Noreen was in a AIM class, AIM. She was a student.
And
You graduated, na. Yes,
you
Doc
were
Castor.
Dr. Ria giving a lecture, right?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
giving a lecture at AIM. Oo. For FYI, Noreen and Claire, the reason why this show, The Feminine Genius, was started is because of my first guesting at AIM about 2019. No? When one of the those who manages AIM saw me in a pitch, tapos gines nila ako sa AIM, naisip ko, it's not only me who had a good story. There's a lot of people that has a good story, good journey, and that's everybody. The whole world is to hear those stories. That's the birth of the feminine genius during the pandemic.
And Dr. Ria, both Claire and Doreen were students of AIM. Is that correct?
No, ako lang po yung among us, ako lang po, but I also have two other co-founders. So six po kami. Three of us are from AIM. Pero kami po ni Claire ay graduate ng Philippine Science High School from high school.
Batch.
2006 Western Visayas Campus.
Nako, di mo inabutan. Kasi, batch ano ka, 1980.
Ay, naku, forget it. But, okay, if I may ask, Noreen, what was your background? Claire, Noreen and Claire, kasi kanina we were at the backstage. So, I know Claire's background, but for the benefit of the people watching, ano mga backgrounds ninyo? Kasi you're from Philippine Science, you have to file a contract that you have to be in the field of research, otherwise you're gonna pay, right?
Yes po. So yeah, I took up when I graduated Philippine Science, I took up communications technology management. So very much in the IT technology space. And yeah, it was also in the School of Management, but we were leaning towards the technology side. So we were trained actually to really be informed about, the back then the telecom industry, but right now it developed into the social media industry. And when I graduated, actually my very first business was a social enterprise, because it was also like our thesis project. We were helping
Philippine Science
livelihoods.
thesis
Sorry.
project in college or Philippine Science?
In college po, in
In college,
college.
okay.
Yes po. So we were actually working with community livelihoods in Laguna, with working with the water hyacinth,
Hmm,
and we
okay.
found a community who made the water hyacinth look like leather. So we branded it as vegan leather. So that was my very
Wait,
first
wait. I'm
business.
sorry. Vegan. Vegan, right?
Correct,
Vegan.
correct. Yes
Okay.
po. Yeah. So that was
It's
my
also
very
the
first.
same. By the way, it's also the same as the leather, the pineapple leather, right? There's a pineapple
Correct.
leather. I've heard of it.
The
Mm.
yes, yes. So yeah, it got me fascinated with, well, materials, culture, and using business to help society. So I've been in the social enterprise space and then eventually the tech startup space. So I've actually been building enterprises since I graduated university, and it's been more than 10 years. I moved back to Iloilo back in 2015, and we've been helping the innovation ecosystem here in Iloilo. And then I took my master's in innovation and business, and actually it also was a capstone in grad school. So that's how we started Panublix as well. And I looped in my other friends, Claire being one of them, to be part of it as well. Yeah,
You were good friends in high school or college?
high school po. Yeah.
High school, okay. And where did you? Okay, let's go with Claire. Sorry.
Good evening po again. I'm Claire. I earned a degree in DS Fisheries from the University of the Philippines, Visayas in 2010. Uh, I used to be a faculty member in a state university. I led some of their DNA barcoding studies. And aside from that, I had to teach aquatic post-harvest. These aquatic post-harvest subjects involve marketing some products. So I decided to resign from my job in 2018. And I realized that in order to effectively teach those subjects, I had to learn business. So I asked Noreen how I learned business. She tried to teach me lean startup, but I wasn't responding. So when she involved me in Panublix, that's when I started learning better about business. Yun po.
Uh, I'm just curious, ha? Yung DNA barcoding mo, saan mo ginawa?
Sa ano po, kasi po yung Central Luzon State University is
Ah, si LSU. Yeah.
one
My
of the
friend
first.
is the VP for the very forgot her name. She's from Laguna. Okay. She's so
Si
lovable.
Ma'am Porsyong Pula.
Fe Persyongkula, Madam
Yes
Fe,
po, opo.
yes. Okay.
So, during the time ni Dr. Fe, alam ko namang feminine genius din talaga ang theme ng CLSU. Most of the VPs were women. Yun po. Tsaka yung in relation to the DNA barcoding po, yung CLSU kasi yung one of the College of Fisheries with one of the first molecular laboratories. So yun.
That's nice. I'm also collaborating with CLSU. Kay Dr. Virgie. I suddenly forgot her name of VetMed. Ayun.
Ah, ayun po, kasama ko din po sila paminsan kasi nagre-review din kami dati ng mga DepEd modules. Yan, si
Mm.
Ma'am Virgie. Ayun.
So, Doc Caster, kasi maraming manonood dito na mga taga-National University. Nakapost kasi sa Facebook page din namin. No?
At
Kasi,
na-require mo, right?
hindi na.
Wow.
Kasi the startup space, the startup space para mag-guide din yung mga ng mga
Right,
estudyante. Pakikwento mo, Noreen, yung of course you've been in business for so long, no? Pero we're focusing on the Panublix. So, how do you start the business? Paano ka nakuha ng iyong mga partners, no? How do you start up capital? Kasi yung mga yung umpisang-umpisa talaga yung very raw para alam ng mga estudyante dito how.
Sige po. Nagsimula po talaga dahil, well, it sounds cliche, pero passion ko po kasi talaga yung promoting culture. So, ito po yung suot namin actually, Claire, gawa sa hablon, which is our hand-woven textile. And ako po kasi, I think the first thing I think that, and I also teach po kasi mga entrepreneurs, you really have to start with your hugot if you want to start a business idea. So, because Panublix is actually my ninth business. I am the type of person who I really like the ideation part. And then, I turn it over to people who could operate it. Out of the nine, seven are still existing. So, um, I think I've had this interest in still promoting culture through innovation. Actually, this is also in line with Claire kasi si Claire po, kasi high school friends, we also are travel buddies with other high school friends. So every time we get a chance, especially before the pandemic, at least once a year, we would travel all around the country, Baguio, even Batanes, and mostly we would also stop by weaving centers and purchase yung mga weaves. And it's been like our hobby and our interest. And, for me, it also started with the fact na I've been in this space of social entrepreneurship also for a while. Pero yung mga artisan enterprises na na-meet po namin, parang hindi sila masyado umaasenso as much as I hope they would, because I've heard they were already collaborating with big brands, with designers. But when I meet them years after, parang hindi naman they're still the same, pero parang it wasn't the progress we thought they would have. And we realized it's still a systemic issue, and partly also you need them to also be transitioning to the digital economy. So that's one aspect. And then the pandemic hit. Um, but even prior to the pandemic, and this is where our other AIM classmates would come in naman. One of our co-founders, she's my classmate in AIM. Her name is Margs Malazo. She's a designer. And when we were still in the face-to-face classes, because we only had 2 weeks face-to-face, she said, "Oh, you're from Iloilo. I've always wanted to source weaves in Iloilo, but I just don't know who to contact and where to source it from." So I said, "Oh, I'm from Iloilo. I easily can get you access to the weavers." And she said, "This is the problem of designers because we always need unique materials, especially if we want to stand out in the market, but it's just so hard to source." So dun po nagsimula, and maybe that's another insight I could share, which we also teach to aspiring entrepreneurs. You also need to have a market need. Dapat may pain point din. So for us at Panublix, yung main customers po talaga namin yung designers. Kasi gusto namin masolve yung pain point nila sa pag-source ng mga artisan textiles. But it's also not just the material. They also care about who made the weave, who made the material. Especially ngayon sa sustainable fashion market, they care a lot about transparency and traceability. So, yun po. That's how we started.
Siguro po para lang po makadagdag sa sinabi ni Noreen, during the pandemic kasi, we had this transaction or we started with yung sa PPEs, di ba Noreen? So yon, so it started with that one transaction, then eventually nakadagdag yon para magawa namin yung Panublix. Then siguro a little story dun sa kinukwento ni Norina about sa trips. So one time we went to Narda sa Baguio, tapos I really liked pants na woven siya. So, pero it was paired with a jacket. So yon, I told Noreen, I begged Noreen to buy the top so that I could buy the pants. So parang ganon. So I think it reflects din yung dynamics namin sa Panublix na it's really a partnership and we try to complement each other yon. The team complements yung everybody. Yun po.
Yeah, I try to understand yung product forms ng Panublix, no, Noreen and Claire. So, kasi nung umpisa, nung una, I thought Panublix is into a mobile app where you source different materials, and then there's this designers, and then parang nagma-match-match sila, no? So, in other words, ganun ba yung model? You source the materials, parang you are the supply chain na kayo yung supply chain solvers nitong mga nasa space na to.
Yes po. It's actually, you're right, supply chain sourcing. Pero hindi, we're not building a mobile app po. The we're a multi-sided business model. So those in the tech startup scene would know what that means. But we do want to focus on the B2B side first, particularly the designers. But we also have, as many multi-sided businesses go, we also have to onboard the supplier side, which are the artisan enterprises. So right now po, yun po yung develop naming technology. It's actually still a progressive web app. We have a tech team. One of our co-founders is also from Pisay, sa Bicol naman. So he's our CTO. And he's working with a team to develop it's not yet an app, but it's going to be a way to help rural artisan enterprises be onboarded in the digital economy and accept our orders. So, but the direct, I guess, towards the middle kasi of developing Panublix, we also signed a memorandum of agreement with the DOST, Philippine Textile Research Institute, because they have the Regional Yarn Production and Innovation Center here in Iloilo, sa Miagao po. And this is also under the Iloilo Science and Technology University or ISETU, na naging incubated din po kami doon. So, ang maganda lang po kasi we are working with the ecosystem, the startup innovation ecosystem here. Dahil po dun sa MOA with PTRI, we got direct access to Philippine tropical yarns, which are made of cotton abaca, and pineapple. And ito po yung sinosource ng mga weavers. Yung isang naging mission na rin namin, aside from just digitizing our weavers, yung operations nila, is to help them transition to use tropical yarns. Kasi ngayon, they commonly use polyester. And not only is it not sustainable, hindi rin po siya sellable. Kasi po yung, especially if they want to sell to Europe, they've basically banned polyester, and they will not import anything that's made from fossil fuel fibers. And that's the reason bakit sobrang tambak yung inventory ng weavers during the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's our way also of making them transition to the sustainable fashion market. So for us, we provide access to materials and access to makers for the designers. So that's our model.
Caster, naka-mute ka.
So that's what you call your value proposition, is to enable local manufacturer or local weavers or fab or designers have access to sustainable and ethically sourced fabric.
Yes, po.
And how do you earn money from that?
So our revenue model is we earn from the sale of the yarns and the weaves. So right now we have the capacity to produce 50 kilograms a day of tropical yarns. These are weaving yarns. And there's also a growing community of crochet artists. Actually, we just had an
Crochet,
event with
okay.
them. Yeah, yung mga crafters, nagaganchilyo. So we actually had an event with them kanina lang. And we also are doing sourcing for big brands. Actually, boutique brands, but they're based in Milan and France, so and London also. So we're actually doing the sourcing service for designers based there, and they sort of pay a service fee as well for that. Yeah.
So that's part of your customer relationship. You organize events to promote the use of or to promote the use of your app in a way.
It's not an app yet po, but yes, it's a whole platform. Right now we have a website. So if you go to
Mm.
panublix.com, you can see the yarns and textiles there.
So, Doc Ria, ang nakita ko dito is it's not really the app, it's not really the technology. Am I right, Doc Noreen and Claire? What you have is innovation in the business model or innovation in the supply in connecting or coming up with the supply chain, because the important thing here is hindi ka magfo-focus from the story that I got. uh you first looked at the pain point, and that pain point, a radical insight came about when you met your friend who's looking for the textile in Iloilo, and with that the idea was born.
Yes po.
So, lesson learned, Dr. Ria, from that for your students.
Well, of course, we are challenging the students to also try to think of business models as their innovation. No? Ano na, kasi maganda, of course, if you have innovative product at the same time, innovative business model to sell. Why not? No? But of course, yung mga ano kasing klase ng business, I think this is not machine intensive business, no? Tama no, Noreen, no? Because I wanted to know kasi, ano ba yung heaviness of the resources that is needed if it's the business model is supposed to be your revenue stream, no? Where you get your revenue stream. Hindi kayo, you don't need this much of the facilities, the and etc. Right? It's more of the
Actually, so it's interesting po kasi in innovation, there are many frameworks po kasi as what I've also learned in AM. One framework, and it's not new, but it's also not as well known, but it's called the Three Horizons framework, which there is a horizon that is just what you usually see, so business as usual.
The
There's a
growth.
horizon that is disruptive, and there's a third horizon that this is where the deep tech horizon would come in. We're actually operating business models in three different horizons. So, to explain, Horizon 1 for us is e-commerce. That's the usual business as usual, I guess, that you would see. So, we sell yarns, we sell textiles. It's straightforward e-commerce. And that in itself has a lot of innovations. It's the fastest rising vertical right now in the tech startup space. The Philippines is the fastest rising market for e-commerce, and there's a lot of innovations there, especially the marketing. The second one that we're building, it's more of like a software as a service model for the artisan enterprises. And that's what we're actually fundraising for. We're doing the fundraising rounds as well for the tech startups, and that's where the technology comes in. It's actually the same challenge that the agri tech space is working on, where they have smallholder farmers and trying to aggregate them and consolidate them so that we connect them to the market. Those are the artisan enterprises for us because they're usually also organized in co-ops, mga weavers. So it's the same kind of challenge, to consolidate and also to equip them with payments. So there's that part of the business model. And the third part, and that's why Claire is here, and this is, yes, we still need the R&D because the future of the sustainable fashion industry is materials. So it's a very long horizon as it goes in R&D, deep tech, but that's what we're working on. Specifically, we're looking at innovations in natural dyes for the textiles, specifically, hopefully using aquatic resources because Claire being in part of fisheries. And also here in Iloilo, where we are at, we have a number of natural dye centers, like in Aklan, in Guimaras, at actually existing R&D na rin siya, DOST funded projects na we just need to support to commercialize. So for us, that's how we work. And of course, every strategy, every horizon has its own strategy. We start with the practical first, obviously. So that's also one thing we share. At the end of the day, there needs to be a revenue stream to fund the development of all these businesses. Yeah.
You mentioned about the revenue stream. Um, at what stage of funding are you in right now? Do you have, let's say, angel investors, or are you still at the, ano ba tawag ng Dr. Ria, yung you're getting money from your mother,
Seed fund?
a seed fund
Seed
or,
funds.
mm-mm.
Yeah, we're actually still in a pre-seed stage because the seed
Oh, okay.
stage, the check
Ah.
sizes on seed are actually around $1 million. We just need less than that to fund the e-commerce side, because we also prefer to be as self-sufficient as possible. But yeah, we're still in the pre-seed round. Yeah.
So Noreen, most of the work that you're doing right now, because that's the low hanging fruit, no, is to grow your sources of this sustainable fashion products, and then to grow also your network of users or designers. Yun yung focus din nyo ngayon. Okay. Kasi I can see, of course, the possibility of meron kasi ako nakikita na connect nung technology yung ginagawa ninyo with the one facet of my technology, no, because of the creatives and the culture side. Oo.
I also
So
see your key partner is the DOST. It's government, right?
Yes,
And
but one of the partners. Yeah.
and how do you reach out to your to the users or buyers, and how do you reach out to the source of your materials, aside from the help given by PTRI?
Yeah, actually po, DOSC is just one of them, but PTRI definitely has been very helpful in the connections. We're also part of the Philippine Fashion Coalition. It's a
Mhm.
newly formed business group for the fashion industry, and anyone in the fashion industry is part of that group. And the space is also very relatively small, so the word of mouth is also very sticky, as we say, which actually once we don't really, but right now we're actually, that's why we're working on the supply chain side, because we know once we offer it to a designer, they would want to offer it to another designer. And as a matter of fact, we already have around less than 10 international designers that we're doing sourcing for, and it's just a matter of making sure we have the operations to fulfill that, so hindi kami sabog. So it's really making sure that we keep the word of mouth mechanism, but also making sure our operations can fulfill also the value proposition there.
Noreen, you said you're pre-seed pa for this at this moment, no, but what TRL na kayo?
Sorry pa?
What ano na inyong technology readiness level?
Because we have a multi-sided business model po. Um, E-commerce is functioning, so it's already at it's basically the business itself. But in terms of TRL, actually, kasi yung R&D side po, din-develop pa lang. So that side, it's still on the 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 R&D side. Yung sourcing app, we are launching the MVP this June. So kaya po very very multidimensional yung pag-approach namin sa Panublix. And as a matter of fact, that's what our mentors say. They think we're just like any other tech startup. They think we're just like any other social enterprise startup. But when they actually look at what we're doing, it's very multidimensional. But when the tech startup folks ask us, then we say we're a sourcing as a service app for artisan enterprises, and that has its own trajectory. That's what we're fundraising then for. Um, yeah.
How do you do fundraising, by the way?
So it's interesting po kasi ako, I've been in the social enterprise space, so there's a lot of philanthropic capital din po, no. Um, but there's also the sustainability space. Actually, we've realized there's a certain type of investor that needs to match the problem that we're trying to solve, which is sustainability, actually, the trajectory. And there are not a lot of that in the Philippines, admittedly. Kaya medyo hindi po dito yung funds. But there's also a lot of angels. So here in Iloilo po, we're also very active in the local innovation ecosystem. So I'm also, as in the bio, I'm also part of Kwadra TBI. It's the TBI we're part of. And we are also forming our own angel group here, angel investors group, because there's a lot of actually of wealth here in Iloilo. But it's still the traditional capital, but it's the second generation families who are now taking the reins of the businesses here. So there's a move to have our local angel investment group. At yung maganda po kasi they are all aligned with helping develop the local economy. And as a matter of fact, the regional development center made of that's the NEDA RDC, they made it a priority to focus on reviving the textile industry in Iloilo. So I think that's also one thing that worked for us, aligning the strategy of the current investment roadmap of our local government. Yeah.
I'm curious kasi this is a tech startup. So I'd like to hear from Claire what kind of R&D work is involved with Panublix.
Marami din po. Actually, si Bani yung in charge dun sa software. Then, for my side, aside po from contacting the artisan enterprises and yung designers, we're also trying to connect with research centers who could address the needs of assessing yung quality ng products namin. Yun po. So, for example, we're starting with tensile strength ng yarns. So, it's already being done sa PTRI. But we're trying to find out if dito mismo sa Iloilo, if this can be done sa research centers here. So, we're trying to form partnerships with those research centers para makakonduct kami ng mga testing namin. Para hindi na namin, for now, hindi namin kailanganin ng mga expensive equipment to assess yung quality ng products namin.
So you're not buying equipment. So in other words, you're sourcing everything out. Kasi it's really going to be costly if you're going to buy equipment. Like the Instron, is in the tune of 2 million, and a lot of other things. So you outsource it. Where do you get the money? It's from your own pocket, or do you charge it to the source of the yarn?
For now po, from our own pocket po.
Oh my gosh.
Pero
okay,
ano po,
so it's very important, Claire, how you're working for the guys, Philippine Genome Center. Okay, so we have a molecular biologist involved in startup. I'm wondering, is it very important for you to have a job to maintain, because a startup enterprise, it's kind of, you might be trapped in the valley of death, or eventually you can be transformed into a phoenix, but we don't know your fate. So how important is it to have a part-time job or a full-time job?
I think po na pag-usapan nga to namin ni Noreen kanina as we were preparing for this interview. And it's important for both of us to have a cash flow that would maintain our current lifestyle. So parang for now, I understand that yung e-commerce has to go first, tsaka yung sa software. So that's why I have to establish first a concrete R&D map, then syempre secure funds in order for me to be employed sa aming company.
But of the 6 po, there's actually a full-time founder. So we have one full-time founder working hands-on.
So that's very important. Doc Ria, that's very important, right? To have one full-time person who's gonna organize or facilitate. Is that
all that taong bahay, no? Yeah, that's actually related to your question kanina, yun ang tatanungin ko eh. Who's the taong bahay, and when did they see themselves?
Taong bahay.
Yeah, taong bahay. Because
domestic founder, parang ganon.
Yeah,
domestic helper. Okay.
So when all the other co-founders are working or doing attending seminars, etc., building their capabilities, there's somebody who's really working full time. And this is when somebody's working full time, then there is already a revenue really coming from
Mm-hmm.
your business.
Yes, there's someone full time, and we actually have full time team members also. So we do have a team. So sales and operations has full time roles, and our designer co-founder is also full time.
So up now, how many full time? You consider them also as employees, of course, because they have to charge their salary there, no? So how many more or less employees are you sustaining right now?
In the team, there are 14. Four are full time.
Um,
But they're very, we have a really good HR din kasi. So she has been very good in getting people who are high performing, can work on very specific project based, but also high output, and are also very mission driven. So we made it a real intention to set out a hiring strategy for people like this. And because it's a startup, talagang hustle work ethic, but we're also very mindful not to burn them out as well. So it's actually a really good team for us. Yeah.
you're 14 in the team, and six are founders, and the remaining eight are also part of the board of directors.
No, they're staff. Yeah.
Other staff, okay. So that's nice, no? But as you guys know, the two of you not being full time, you still also have your the share of the revenue.
Yeah. Well, right now it all goes back. It's all reinvested back to the enterprise kasi since bago pa lang. But yeah, we allot for us. As we've been told, it's we still try to allot for our so parang advance na lang, because at the end of the day you have to value then our time also. So yeah, it's in our projections also.
Noreen, kanina yung sinasabi ni Claire, no? Claire is telling about the R&D roadmap that Panublix will be working on. Are you looking at the possibility of you yourselves already producing your own textile, or are you the one who will be the third party qualifier, or what the third party? How do you call this? Parang kayong accreditors. Parang ganon. Are you going in that direction?
That's a good question po eh. Number one is actually we need to abide first with the standards. And usually these standards are being set by the Europe countries. So organic cotton is one, the Oikotex is another textile standard. And that's where Claire is trying to develop the baseline. Kasi basically ito yung hinahanap ng European market. These are the values for tensile strength, moisture content, etc., etc. They are already existing, but the problem is like we don't have the baseline, and this is actually related to how the fibers are grown. So there's a lot about agriculture pa that we still need to get into, like how the cotton is being farmed. Once we have that data, then it would be easy to sort of really develop the kind of products that the market needs. But yes, it's in our, we've been thinking about developing our own. It doesn't really have to be very material sciencey, but there is a marketing towards having it patented as our own. But that's why Claire is still plotting it down. But definitely building competitive advantage, which we always talk about in the team, is key, and that would come when we have a portfolio of patentable products. Similar with how the big brands like Nike, Patagonia, they actually have a very rich patent portfolio for all their products. So it's something we're considering as well. Yeah.
There's several bills now. I mean, laws supporting the startup community. So supporting people like you Innovation Act. You have the Innovative Startup Act. How has government helped you in a way aside from the PTRI, helping you source out and do some analysis? Do you get any other form of support from, let's say, GTI or other areas in or agencies in the OST?
Yeah, definitely. So Yeah, the DOSC Startup Grant is definitely one. We just turned 1 year old,
Yeah.
so we're gonna be applying for the
Oh,
next one.
all right. Good. Good luck.
Yes.
It's 5 million, right?
Yeah, so there are actually a lot, and even in the local regional office, there are also some grants. But right now, we're also doing research with like embassies. So right now, Claire maybe can share more of this, but we're doing work with the British Council, and we also are have projects with Australia Embassy and U.S. Embassy. So those are all our other sources of support as well.
And
Yun po.
what would be the role, Claire, of British Council and
Ah,
AusAid or Australian Embassy?
Actually po, it's Ria who applied for the British Council grant. So we're trying to, so it's a scoping grant. So we're trying to find out if our app will be, it will be if our app is can be easily used by the community in Region 2. Yun po. Tapos we're trying to, tapos this community in Region 2 kasi is trying to develop ang a different fiber by DOST po. Yun po. Then, aside from that po, we recognize that we have to work with scientists na with existing researches on natural dye. So, that's where we're currently at po.
Australian Embassy. What's the interest of Australia in helping your company?
Because our co-founder, her name is also Ria, by the way. So she's an Australia Award scholar, and
Mm.
we were also part of the ESIP incubator, which is funded by the Australia Embassy in partnership with PhilDev. So it was really just because we came from their programs. That's why they continue to support us. So actually, on May 20, I think that next month, we are gonna be having a pop up in SM Mega Mall for Philippine Australia Friendship Day. So, inviting all your viewers and you, of course, to attend. It will be in the Fashion Hall. So, they're going
Fashion.
to be supporting that for the Friendship Day of Philippines and Australia.
You are an incubator, right? You are an incubator of FieldDev because
We went through their program, their accelerator program. Yeah.
yeah, the accelerator program. So you mean for those who are listening, no, that's it. How do you compare the journey of a startup for those who that does not really experience incubation as versus to you who experience incubation?
Actually, it for us, it's the reason why we got accelerated. We started Panublix during COVID times, and we incorporated this in April 2021. That's why we just turned 1 year legally this year. Um, but we would not have been able to do it had we not gone through the acceleration programs. We've been through ilan na ba, Claire? I can't count na. I think more than five in the past 2 years. Just because, well, that's the good news actually, because especially for the students who are watching, no, compared to 10 years before, there are actually a lot of programs na supporting, especially young entrepreneurs. So it always starts with validating your idea. We went through a program just for that. So 3 months of validating Panublix as an idea, talking to customers. And then because of that, it enabled us to go through another incubation program. So this one's 6 months naman. So it's intensive, and I think what's also nice because you also get access to mentors who are actually founders themselves, and they matched us with founders who are in our space, so e-commerce, supply chain, fashion. So it was very very meaningful for us to go through this para ma-accelerate po yung growth din ng Panublix.
Doc Rhea, for those people who it's the first time to hear about incubation acceleration, so what's the difference between the two? And what do the, what do you guys get out of an incubation program and out of an acceleration program?
Noreen, can you explain?
Okay. Sige po. Usually po yung acceleration program is just short. Kaya po acceleration kasi usually 3 months lang or even less. Incubation tends to be longer. So, for example, we were part of the Kubo, that's the QBO incubation program. It was 6 months long. The PhilDev ESIP accelerator was just around 3 months long. So it's just a matter of time. And of course, the incubation, since it's longer, it is more intensive. But also, the accelerator can also be intensive kasi yun nga. And different accelerators and incubators have different uh, goals. So we're also in another program right now, for example, na yung focus naman is go-to-market strategy for internationalization. So when we do our demo day, kumbaga yun yung defense, if ever, yung ipipitch namin, it's not really for investment. It's like, how do we get to Europe? Or what's our strategy there? So different programs po have different goals. But I recommend for especially for those who really want to start up, there are actually a lot now, and it's just a matter of applying and choosing what is right for you at the current stage of your idea or startup. Din.
Yeah, Doc Castor, that was actually a very good question when you raised the difference between an accelerator and incubator that I myself is also kind of puzzled sometimes, no? Kasi ako, I'm new in the formation of a TBI, Technology Business Incubation. Na sometimes napapagpalit namin yung incubation and acceleration. But of course, no, I agree with Noreen, no? Acceleration is fast track, fast pacing, no?
You should first be incubated, is that correct? Before you get accelerated. Not the other way around, right?
It
So,
can be, it can
ganun
also
ba
be,
yun?
ano po,
Does not
yeah.
matter. Yeah.
It depends po
Depende
on
sa
your
program.
program. Yeah.
It depends sa program. And
So the incubation
Noreen,
is like, I'm sorry, the incubation is like you have a startup and you want to ensure that it will not die. So because incubator nga hindi siya mabubugok. Accelerator, you are already flying and then you want to add more fuel. Ganon, something like that. Tama ba?
not necessarily din eh. Kasi
Sige.
may katulad sila, pre-seed pa lang sila eh. Pre-seed is already accelerated. And I think Noreen's team is a combination of this incubation and acceleration. No? Five programs. That's we call co-incubation or co-acceleration, which is already a practice right now. Now, ang tanong dito, Noreen, who's who got the credits in the event that you have the success points? Who got the credit? From
Who
your
got the credit?
from your accelerators, or you write them all, their logo are all affiliated with you.
I mean, whatever helps us, basically. Because, but yeah, like, I think we recognize certain groups, like Kubo, for example, just because we've been in, I think, 4 already of their programs. So, because Kubo has a lot of programs at different stages of their business. So, when we were still an idea, we went through their program. Yun po yung boot camp, they call it, with a Q, because that's their branding. And then after the boot camp, the goal for that is to validate if we have a market. So that's what we pitched. Na Panublix has a market because we talked to X number of designers and they said this is their need. And we won top 3 ata. And that kind of gave us an eligibility to apply for the incubation. So yun po yung 6 months. So we got in the incubation, and it's like getting another master's degree actually. And I was taking it while I was doing my master's degree. So but I think I also value it kasi mas mga founders kasi yung mismong nagtuturo. So you're really getting insights from real experience. And yun po talaga yung demo day. So you show na talaga a proof of concept. And that's where, we also get trained how to pitch, which is very important, how to communicate the idea. And yeah, we got also top 3 in that incubation program. And that gave us the confidence to really start building. No, kasi even up to that point, we were almost a year in since we ideated Panublix, but yeah, we started building the company when we had that validation. Oh, there are paying customers, so we can make sure we have a sustainable cash flow to manage the other parts of the building. As I think that's part of the journey kasi it's very much like the scientific experiment din for me, no? Parang ito yung hypothesis, you do an experiment, you test it, then certain unknowns become knowns, but you do other experiments. So that's been how we've been working also. Ayun po.
During the presentation of, I think the one of your founders, the guy who has blonde hair, what's his name?
Jerome.
Okay, he said you made 1 million already on your first year. Is that correct?
Yeah, close to po.
Wow,
In the
congrats.
books, yeah, thank you po. In the books, yes, close to 1M. But if you include the ones that we earned before we incorporated,
Oh,
um,
you did. You
more
earned already
than
before you incorporated.
this was because of like the PPE drives, but most
Oh,
of
I
them
see.
were like the NGO stuff, like the philanthropic stuff. But syempre, the government will only recognize once we got legally operated. So yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you po.
Yes. So parang ano, no, it will not be very hard, less challenge na rin for you to increase your revenue, no? So, ang ano kanina, Noreen, after you would be incubated or accelerated, are you bound to put their logos also in your logo, like co-branding? Does
We
that
can we do
happen?
naman po, but like we also kasi we just need to make sure that we have agreements also with them po, no. But we do recognize them in our decks. So Kubo is definitely there. Also the Australia Embassy, especially with the ASIP, uh Shell Livewire. I don't know. Yeah, they also were one of the supporters. So we don't really say co-branded, but like they supported us. So yun po.
I see. If I just to ask you, no, because your Panublix is a part of your AIM output thesis, right? Capstone. How many percent you think of your AIM projects are actually do have a state like you, do? Wherein nakapag ano talaga sila outside AIM, talagang nakapag-reach out sila sa market and they're now performing well. Mga ilang percent ang success rate natin sa mga capstones?
Oh, I cannot say po kasi you have to ask the program team that. But alam ko po sa class namin, there are a number din of teams actually na ngayon they're continuing their businesses. So as to success rate, I don't know. You have to ask EIM po daw ata.
Ah, okay. Pero maganda kasi yung support system ng PhilDep when it comes to media mileage and all the the marketing they're doing for you, right?
It's okay po, it helps, but I think it's sariling kayod pa din po because at the end of the day, we do have a specific target customer, and so it helps actually to, especially at the start, to build credibility. But as they say po, it can get you in the door, but you still have to work to sustain the marketing po. So we all do also have our own efforts for marketing din.
Docaster?
I believe in at AIM. I think I attended your one of the orientation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at my file here. It's around 70
Scholar ka ng
percent.
AIM, di ba? Sabihin mo na, aminin mo na.
A bit. Ayun. I heard 12. Oh, okay. Around a third of your capstone projects ended up as functional startups. And since 2018, the startups received around more than 2 million seed funding. So that's quite a good statistics. A third. are still functioning since 2018. So the AIM education is really working, I guess. And the
Yeah.
connections.
And the connections, of course. And tsaka, imagine, no, with the team of Noreen. Kasi sila Noreen, as of the batang-bata pa kasi 1 year old. Batang-bata pa to. No, there'll be more to come in the first 3 years. No, that's yung first 3 years na yan para mahalaga. So, madami pa kayong madami pa kayo talaga ma-achieve pa na siguro ang awards will be left and right. And then, of course, we're looking forward to you getting your investment. If I may ask funds, how much dollars or in peso are you, actually you need to really tell na, or we're on normal operation?
How can you repeat the question po? Sorry.
How much funds are you raising to reach
Okay.
that stage, yung stage na sa tingin nyo, okay na, we will go full time on this, on our business?
Actually, in the tech startup space, it's not a lot. It's around 200 to 300 US dollars. But for us, like that's because we also prefer to build a self-sufficient business model. Um, so yun po.
Maganda, no? At least hindi, kasi ako ang problema ko, the raising of the so many US dollars of funding because of the of the and the warehouse. So kayo don't have to maintain your own warehouse. I don't know. Do you plan to do so? But by the way, where is your office? Do you rent or using facilities of one of your founders?
Since we're incubated po sa ESAT, so we have an office po in the incubator.
Ah, yun ang maganda, Docaster, di ba? Pag nag-incubate kayo, have an office.
It's a shared a virtual office probably, or as a physical office.
It's a physical office po, but since we're also remote, so we only go there where we're meetings or getting documents. But it's the address is based there. Yeah.
Okay. So may I just ask the two of you, what do you think is your best project?
I
Claire?
think po, my best project is myself because I think that yung I have to I rise from every wrong decision that I made yon. And I keep on learning po. I think kasi ma'am, fisheries po ako pero napunta ako sa textile because I don't want to stop learning po. And I recognize that yun nga, yung sciences can be connected po. Different sciences can be connected. Yun po.
Diversity, no? It's called diversity.
And
Ikaw,
lifelong
Nori.
learning.
Oh, yeah.
I guess ito po yung Panublix. I mean, I never personally thought it would be like a legit business after just ideating it a couple of years ago. But I think it's also, I mean, I also believe in there's some divine force happening. Um, so, because I'm a very spiritual person also, I was raised that way. And I think also it's just, of course, we also did what we can because it was the pandemic. So talagang hustle it out. And also, we had to do this also for grad school. But yung internal motivation ko to do it was more than just the compliance. It was, I think because we really saw that the artisans that we work with, they really needed the solution. So, yun din siguro yung advice na palagi namin binibigay sa mga aspiring founders. Talagang it starts with why talaga. You know, there's that TED talk. What's the why behind what you do? So, ayun po.
To add po sa sinabi ni Noreen, kasi during the pandemic po, we were always talking about which community we should assess first yung impact ng COVID. So when nagkaroon kami ng transaction regarding the PPE, parang yun na yung chance namin. So parang we find na parang kaya naman pala na matulungan namin yung artisan enterprises. Yun po.
Ang question ko dito is, I mean, AIM, Asian Institute of Management, is I think number 17 in the world. It's really in the Philippines. It's the best business school that or management school that one can get if you study in the Philippines. Ano, how much or what's the impact of the education, Noreen, that you got and your group got from AIM that really propelled you to being successful?
That's an interesting question. I can only speak for myself po, no? I can't speak for my other classmates. Kasi iba-iba. I mean, I think it was just an interesting time for our batch kasi kami po yung COVID batch. 2021, class of 2021. Although the class of 2020 also, no? Pero, yeah, basically we went through it through the online stream, right? So, before, had COVID not happened, I would have loved to be on campus to network with all the people there. But that didn't happen. So we really had to intentionally do our own networking. And I think what worked for us is, well, me kasi I've been in the startup space for a while. And the lessons I learned in grad school were affirming. So they were also new. So I think one thing that helped me personally, mas na sharpen yung frameworks ko on innovation. Yung akala ko bara-bara lang ay innovation framework pala. So I felt more confidence in my ability personally. And also, definitely, a couple of professors were really good mentors also. To this day, we still also bounce ideas about Panublix. But I can also say that we also pursued other opportunities outside the classroom or the virtual classroom in our case. Kasi there's only also so much you can learn in with just lectures. At the end of the day, startups and building businesses is really it's in the doing eh. And as what Claire mentioned nga, actually, I run a firm that does a lot of startup workshops, and that's where Claire tried to learn it from at the start. But as she said nga, no, like, minsan hindi mo gets eh until you actually do it. And that's what I also believe. You actually have to do it to actually learn how to start a business. Um, but definitely the for me the because innovation is still so new po, and
Hmm.
I think the our program is also very new. So I do think there's still a lot of room for uh because it's still everyone's still figuring it out. But it personally helped me because yun nga, it gave me more a sharper perspective na okay, this is the innovation roadmap that we should take. And I think I also appreciated po yung tech transfer spin-off, yung R&D commercialization, which that's where we met Doc Riza nga po, no, in one of our classes. Because, especially Claire and I have many friends who are in the R&D space, and how to help commercialize their research is also one of the things that excites me din po. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Ay, nakamute po kayo, ma'am.
I'm sorry. So ngayon, super excited si Doc Acer sa kanyang AIM journey.
I'm just in the
Although,
overture. Yeah, I really haven't learned any. I mean, I learned a lot from the overtures, but we're just beginning. Batch 2023.
yeah, okay.
Also, you're in the MIB na po, diba, ngayon? You're in the
Hmm.
program
Yeah,
now?
you guys are with MSIB, right? You were,
Yes, yes.
kasi, Ched, you didn't have to publish your thesis.
Yeah,
It's
that
a,
was the contention, bakit inalis pa. But you're in the program now po?
yes. The reason probably why it was made into an MIB than an MSIB is the Ched Memorandum Order wherein if you're part of a master's
Yeah.
science program, you really need to publish. So this is more of a capstone thing. So I think it's shifted to MIB. I'm MIB 2023.
But it's
Wow.
MIB na, di ba? It's
Mm-mm.
MIB naman talaga, right?
Sa
MSIB
amin po
before.
MS pa. Yeah.
Ah. Did you
So
publish,
batch mo si...
Noreen? Nag-publish ka?
Actually, yun po yung, to be honest, I wanted AIM's advice because we actually want to convert our papers into published.
Published.
But yun nga,
Mahi-
unfortunately, walang direct track to do that. But we're still, that's why Claire and I, and even, the rest of the co-founders, we're talking about really publishing because, we
Yeah.
want to be R&D based then. Oo.
That's right.
Hindi, tsaka
There
yung
And
ano
are ano
naman.
po,
kap-
may mga faculty members po from some universities na who connect with us so that we could publish yung mga outputs ng Panublix po. Parang it's like their extension work. So we're working on that.
mm-mm. Your batchmate is Matthew, no? Kuwa? Noreen?
Sorry pa?
Matthew? Kuwa?
He's my batchmate in college, but he's 2022 in AIM. Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kami 2021. Yeah.
Pasadahan ko lang yung mga magic questions, no? Any regrets in life?
Claire, ikaw muna.
Maybe po, maybe I should have continued studying abroad for my PhD. But I think it's not a fit for me kasi I'd want nga to commercialize yung researches in the Philippines. That's why I'd like to learn from Noreen, yun. Tsaka, I believe po kasi sa mga research centers na established here in the Philippines. I think we could be at par with the rest of the world. Kaya, pinupursue ko pa rin naman. So, I think I'll turn that regret into an opportunity. Yun.
Max. Ah, galing.
Yeah.
Miss Universe.
Miss Universe. And you, Noreen?
Baka Miss Universe din po yung sagot ko kasi sabi nga nila, regrets are parang every setback is kasi a opportunity to learn din for me. So, siguro I do have, if there's one regret, I think I wish I learned more, I pursued the hard software technology programming skills, especially now, like, tech startups. And we also, if you're gonna go through AIM po, you have artificial intelligence classes, data science classes. I wish I really pursued, because I was supposed to go through the hardcore software but I think that's why maganda nga that Doc Ria has this. I didn't see kasi role models in that space. No, it's only now that I'm seeing na, there's the pioneers pala of computer science were women. So it's only now that I'm an adult, I knew that. But had I known that back when I was in Pisay, I would have totally pursued computer science and software engineering. So, yeah.
Of course, yung women in computing, we have Dr. Rachel Rojas, who's also a graduate of UP Los Baños, and with me at my post National University. At naging guest ko din siya. Siya si Da Esther. Basta nasa mukha ng The Women in Computing, it's Dr. Rachel Rojas. Hello, ma'am. Baka nanonood ka sa amin. Alright. So, what is your best and most significant investments?
I think it would be my sister's education. Because my sister
Ikaw na
is,
paparal.
so for some time, I contributed to her education. So I'm proud to be a sister of a postgrad intern right now. And yun po.
Ate. Oo, mabait na ate. Yes, Noreen?
Ako po, actually, ito pa din po, yung Panublix. And even, kasi talagang suntok sa buwan siya. But in a way, like, it was also yeah, like I think right now we're very much affirmed now we need to do this. Kasi we meet a lot of designers who said na this is exactly what they wanted, that they've been looking for. And yeah, it looks like we're on the right track. So we're gonna push through wherever this takes it. So yeah.
Ang maganda kasi Doc Caster with the story of the Panublix, they never thought no that they will go this far. Ganon no yung sinasabi ni Noreen kanina. Akala nyo lang isa sa ganun basta the startup pero you never thought na you'd gone this far. Which is I think that's one of the signs no of growth. All of us I think most of those in the startup space had that feeling na you never thought no. Looking back, hindi mo iniisip. Tapos ngayon, eto ka na. And tapos, yung I think kayong dalawa, no, baka hindi na natatapos yung idea nyo. Baka minsan hindi na kayo natutulog just for the sake na labas na lang nalabas yung ideas, no? Hindi na siya humihinto, right? Tama? Parang you can never get so much off, no?
Siguro, ma'am, yung dynamic namin ni Noreen, si Noreen yung may mas maraming ideas. Then I look at her ideas, tapos kung ano yung feasible. Na, Noreen, we have to pursue this first before we do that next idea. Like,
Maganda.
so,
Sobrang
that's what we do sa...
complimentary. Kahit po yung the rest of the team din, very complimentary. So yeah, I'm really the big picture thinker. But we have people like Claire and si Margs yung designer namin, very ano din, practical. So Margs actually, kasi designer siya, sanay din siya sa mga creatives, visionaries. So she's able to really capture the big picture and break it down into steps. Kaya very complimentary yung team po.
So, who's your hero or idol or mentor or somebody you look up to?
Claire, you wanna go first?
Siguro, ma'am, yung professor ko, ma'am, sa National Taiwan University. So, I had this teacher sa Institute of Oceanography ng National Taiwan University. Tapos at that time, she's the only female faculty member there. Tapos, parang she's always open. Then, I remembered na, of course, dahil nasa Taiwan yon, we had a film showing. Tapos, she really reminded yung nagpapashow nung film na kung pwedeng i-on yung subtitle for English. So, parang napaka-mindful niya. Then, she also taught me na if it's not fit for you, don't pursue it. Kasi parang na-experience niya yun sa US na parang she does not want to be exactly a statistician. So she had to find other ways para makuha yung gusto niya doon sa education niya sa US. Yun po.
By the way, taga NTU si Julius Liano of PTRI.
Kilala ko si Kuya Julius po. Opo. Parang nung pumunta si Kuya Julius gumraduate siya ng MS sa NTU, yun yung pagpasok ko. So parang hindi kami nagkaabutan. Pero exactly dun sa Taiwan. Opo. Pero part kami nung Filipino Filipino scientists in Taiwan. May FSIT yun.
I'm just wondering, Claire, why is it that you don't explore on textile from fish scales?
Actually po, hindi pa. Yung iniisip namin is more on sa dyes para baka mas sustainable pag galing siya sa, for example, microalgae or other fish waste pa po. Hindi pa po namin na-explore yung dun sa turning it into textile.
But there are also textile products from fish like wound dressing. Is wound dressing considered as textile?
Hindi yata.
Hindi.
Oo, parang hindi po.
Hindi, okay.
Okay. So, what else you want to achieve or what else remains undone? Mukhang madami pa yan, no?
Kanina po, Noreen and I were talking that I should place in a vision board na one of the so kasi ma'am sa PGC Visayas din, we run this sort of turning research into business. So na-appreciate, so it was a Balik Scientist initiative. So parang one of our guests in that program, parang he mentioned that someday there might be a facility in one of the provinces in Region 3 where there could be laboratories for startups. So we imagine ourselves na watching the sunset from that facility na for startups with laboratories. Yun po.
Maganda po kasi yung office ni na Claire dun sa UP. We're overlooking the sea. So, it's like, that should be our office also. um, yeah.
So, right
Uh,
now, nasa Iloilo kayong dalawa. Tama ba? Right now, you're
yes
in
po,
Iloilo.
yes po.
I see.
Yes.
By the way, si Doc Caster is also a balik scientist. Doc Caster, ano nga yung balik scientist in
Well,
sports?
it's balik science, but my field is in neuroscience and stem cell biology before. But ngayon nasa radiation biology and cancer.
Okay. So, Noreen, ikaw? As a
Ay,
CEO, no? Laki ng vision mo siguro.
actually, sinasabi ko to sa mga kaibigan ko eh. Si Claire din. Yung mga dreams namin in life. Pero yun like, as in farm goals. Like having like a farm resort though. So parang overlooking our cotton fields na regenerative agriculture. And there's probably a lab also there. And it's gonna be like a model for sustainability. But basically just living the life in the farm and angel investing here and there. Apo.
Doc Caster, you can see, no, yung dalawa, no, pag nag-usap sila, vision board, and they're talking about dreams, no. Kasi
Ganyan ka rin eh.
Yeah, hili ko sa vision board. Imagine, no, sila, siguro upo silang anim, pupunta sila sa isang lugar, tapos, they will just, drop down ideas of what they wanted to happen in the future. And of course, driver ito, no, tapos kinabukasan, parang ang saya-saya nga, you feel so young, no.
Well, I hope I'll be a visionary too. I'm more of an ilusionado.
Ilusyonado.
Ilusionado.
Well, anyways, madami kaming niluluto din kasi ni Doc Caster. Ganyan din kami. Si Doc Caster, pag nag-usap din kami, dami rin naming mga technology pinag-uusapan. No? But we're,
But Doc Ria, sila kasi, they talk about technology, they talk about vision. Tayo, 50% technology and vision, 50% chismis at saka pamalait, right? Oo. Laitero kasi tayo.
Totoo.
That's why we enjoy tayo kasi wala, yun ang gifts natin, right? Buti na lang di tayo nakakarma sa ginagawa natin.
Hindi, tsaka kasi tayo, Doc Caster, yung parang naisip natin ngayon, yun. Hindi yung talagang, paplano natin ito na matagal. Medyo, meron din kami naman na pinaplano ng matagal na
I think ito maganda. Iba na yung people like Noreen and Claire, nakikita mo may hope ang Philippines, right? And I hope you guys multiply yourselves. I hope many of the people listening to you are mostly young. They emulate you, get inspired by you, and someday they build an empire. And I see Noreen and Claire maybe in the next 2-3 years. I mean, given that they're just 1 year in their startup.
Yeah, 1 year.
Earned their first million already, and then now they have a lot of connections. They have PTRI. They already carved the name, and these are just kids, bata. Tignan mo, para sila mga babies, and yet they talk as if they have like 30 years of experience in their
Baby face lang po kami pero 30 plus na din po.
Mga babies pa rin kayo compared sa amin. Okay. So,
But
may pag-asa ang Pilipinas because of these two kids, and sana there will be more people or young people, millennials or borderline millennials who will be like you. So I'm proud to meet these two people.
Yeah. I agree with Doc Caster, no. Actually, to all the
Thank you
students who
po.
are watching right now, ang kulang kasi sa mga entrepreneurship the courses that we have right now, yung mga bata, masyadong theoretical. Hindi sila nag-uusap about ganito, something like this, no? Planning to be a millionaire. Kulang eh. Hindi sila nagpo-foresight ng ito pala mangyayari sa akin if I get serious with my technology. So, ito po yung example, no? Sila pag nag-usap sila, may vision board, may pinag-usapan talaga silang gusto nilang marating.
Another
As a,
thing that I learned from them, it's important yung friendship. Kasi feeling ko,
yes.
barkada kayo nung high school. Am I correct? As in, pareho sila ng korte, pareho silang ngumiti. Kita mo yung dalawang two front teeth nila. Pag ngumiti sila, nakaganon. I think siguro nakalagay kayo sa mga closest friends in high school, right?
Kasi po, di ba sa Pisay po, classmates po kami from first year to fourth year.
Oo.
No resection. So, kahit yung sa class. Pero, kami din po kasi ni Claire, yung, ano sabi mo, Claire? Yung Switzerland ng class namin. Meaning, kasi alam mo may mga factions din yan. Pero kami yung, wala kaming faction. Everyone's our friend. So,
Okay.
kami,
Ako
Saan
naman,
Pisay ba
like,
kayo?
Western Visayas po.
and
Western Visayas.
Claire and Noreen, my best friends are still my classmates in Philippine Science. Until now,
Yes.
actually before Ria started, ka-chat ko yung mga barkada ko ng high school. Before we started, we were chatting. Kailan kami magkikita, paano kami tutulong sa campaign ni Lenny Robredo.
Different
Ayun.
shades of pink ba yan?
Oo. So, gano'n kami. Your friends in high school, it's nice that you're still friends now and you're working together for your startup journey. So, yun, it's important sa startup is trust and friendship. Long-term
Yes.
friendship. That will be the formula for success of your startup. Or that's a formula for success of Panublix.
There's also an interesting balance though. Claire might be able to share it, di ba Claire? Ano yung sinabi mo sa akin before? Balance of friendship and business. So, we're also learning to navigate that also. Kasi syempre, ayaw naman namin masira yung, kasi especially we've been having, di ba Claire, difficult conversations already in terms of what to do if this happens, ganon. Pero, yun nga, that's when you develop the trust. I think trust talaga is also the secret din.
Hindi siya friends
Tsaka
with benefits, ha? Iba yun, ha?
Tsaka po
Okay.
yung honest dapat to each other na parang, and yung may clear yung boundaries on tasks. Kaya din namin na-navigate na part-time kami kasi parang naka-schedule yan yung kung kailan kami mag-meet, when this task has to be done. So parang, ayun. So, honest lang kami sa strengths and weaknesses namin and i-honor yung boundaries of the people. Yun.
And isa
And I
pa,
think
startup,
there's balance dun sa kanilang six founders. Iba-iba, may friend, merong hindi friend, may classmate, at talagang balance sila. Not all
At saka,
barkada, not all
one
friends.
more thing na I learned from them, startup is hindi siya sisimulan and then matutulog ka na lang and then wait it grow. It's not like bamboo. No, bamboo, you still take care of it. It's not like cogton grass na it just grows and even if you don't put effort and attention or even resources, it will continue to grow. So kailangan ino-nurture siya and it's going to be a lifetime commitment. So you're married. Oh, guys, kumusta naman? May mga boyfriends ba kayo? Kasi may startup kayo. Do you still have time for love life?
Talagang na-segue mo pa yun
Oh,
eh.
nga, dali lang. Biglang
Opo.
May love life pa ba kayo?
Ako po, opo. Tsaka,
Okay.
he really recognizes na it's good to have your own business, have your own life. Ayun po. So,
Si
parang,
Noreen, may boyfriend ka ba? May love life ka?
Dinelegate ko na po sa isang kaibigan ko yung project na yan. So, isang startup na din po yan.
Okay.
You know, itong dalawa na 'to millennials pa 'to, eh. Ang mga millennials na yun, yung nasa ano sinabi mo yun, nasa borderline millennials 'to. Ayaw nila mag-asawa, ayaw mag-asawa 'no, kung mga 30 plus na sila kasi baby face na mga 30 plus mag-asawa na kayo para baka puro negosyo isipin niyo, makalimutan yung biological clock natin. Okay. So, next question is, if you are not who you are right now, then nakat ba ako? If you are not who you are right now, then who are you?
Wow, philosophical. I don't know. Because I think, I mean, it's such a philosophical question, but parang, well, I was raised po kasi to be very spiritual. So, like, I think our identity is still rooted in, being a daughter of God. So that's my spirituality then. So, regardless of whether what I do, so being an entrepreneur, being an innovator, for me are just titles also. So it's still, who I am as a person in the eyes of God. So yun po for me.
Kala ko magiging madre ka.
Hindi
Okay.
naman po.
Ikaw, Noreen, Claire, kung hindi ka nasa fisheries, ano ka kaya? Nasa agri naman.
Siguro po, I imagine myself na siguro ay yung alternative life na nasa aside living abroad if I'm not where I am right now. Yun po. And likely na more on the hard side, more yung like pursuing something related to chemistry, yun. Yun po.
Talagang ano to, doon pa rin siya sa science. Nako, I hate chemistry. And I just wanted to ask this question to you both, no? How do you think, how can you help the feminine genius advocacy?
We believe, ma'am, na we are already helping the feminine genius advocacy by uh, by pursuing our business because we are employing many female weavers po. We are empowering them to earn for themselves po and sustain livelihood po.
And
Nice.
siguro yeah, to add in, I think yun nga, like, there's, because we didn't really have a lot of female role models. So I personally didn't have a lot growing up. So maybe this is also another way to also say hi to all those who are trying to figure it out. You're not alone. And yeah, there's a lot of women who are in this space. And yeah, we just need more advocates then for the females. Yeah.
All right. So, thank you so much, no. Well, ako kasi may nakikita akong possible collaboration with Panublix, no. But I will be discussing na lang that with you on a separate meeting. And kasi nakikita ko may something that connects. All right. So, Doc Castro, you still have a question sa kanilang dalawa?
Oh, I'm already happy. I'm inspired. So thank you very much, Claire and Noreen. I think it's a little bit way past their bedtime, these kids. So thank you so much. Magandang magkaroon ng role model ang mga kabataan, and these guys really prove that you just even I mean you can be in any part of the field, and you pursue something, and then it's very important that you put in invest in your friends. Oh, Doc Ria, I think you're gone. You're on mute, Doc Ria.
Ayan. Yeah, go ahead, Doc Castro.
I'm okay. So that's it. importante talaga in any endeavor is trust. And these guys showed that trust and friendship and perseverance. It's one of a good formula for success. So
Yeah. I saw the one of the many advantage that this team has, no, especially Noreen being CEO. I like their communication skills, no. I mean, in a founder kasi, yung the way you express the technology, express the idea, that's very important. Yun talaga yung yun talaga yung key to winning so many so many awards, no. The ability to express the idea. So, looking forward to more success to your team. But before we let you leave, no, I just would like to ask this last question: how to thrive as a startup company in the Philippines?
Ma'am, you should know your why. So we know that we would want to help yung designers and yung artisan enterprises. So that's the one thing clear to us. Then you have to have a great team. Tapos you have to create an ecosystem that supports you or you need to be part of it. So dapat yon tulad ng sinabi niyo ma'am, you should be able to communicate well and siguro ano ba, yung na-notice din kasi namin ma'am, parang syempre iba yung how you deal with, parang you should know how to deal with different stakeholders ng isang ecosystem for startups. Yun po. And lastly, we can do what we do because we're in Iloilo. Ayun po, for our first year anniversary, we've visited yung LEDIP and sila yung meron ding ideas on how we could thrive. So we're thankful dun sa LEDIP po. Tsaka yung mga research centers na pinuntahan namin, parang willing naman sila na to help us. Nagsasuggest sila kung anong pang pwede namin gawin. Yun po.
So, yun po yung LEDIP po yung Local Economic Development and Investment Promotions Office.
I've heard of, yeah. How do you call it, Ledi?
LEDIP. LEDIP. Opo.
Okay, so actually, at first time I've heard of that center sa Davao. It's called Davao City Investment and Promotion Center. Docaster, itong center na ito, yung sinasabi nila, ito yung center na user ng ating CHED project. Actually, first time ko sila na-encounter, no? That was when we visited Davao 2 weeks ago, na may ganun palang department. At lahat ng LGU ay may ganyang department. So, very good yun ako. Kasi they act as a TBI. Actually, that's how I see their operation. So, you have the support pala from them.
Yes po. Yung innovation ecosystem talaga ng Iloilo, very collaborative. So, government, industry, academe talaga works together here.
Yes, thank you so much. No, I think the first to have that kind of center is Davao City, and then cascaded to all the LGUs within the Philippines. And we're so happy to know that there's that center, no? Kaya nga starting by May, we will be visiting these centers of each LGU. Unahin namin si Pasay, and then Makati, and then the Pasig City. Tama yan, tama yung ginagawa nila na yan, ginagawa sa inyo. Doon kami nafa-fascinate kaya we will be venturing more of how they do their work and to also help them with our system that they develop namin with Ella once, and of course, Docaster as our consultant and as resource person. All right, so at least kayo yung una sa nakita ko na live people na natulungan ng center na yan. It was so fantastic to have the two of you, Noreen and Claire. Alam nyo, yung technology nakakabata. No? When I had a discussion with an inventor in India whose age is 60 plus, sabi niya, if I have a technology, I felt so young every day. And that's how I see both of you. No? Para puno-puno kayo ng ideas, hindi na uubos. Madami na ang daming roadmap. You are so interdisciplinary. So I'm so happy to hear some good stories about you, no? And sabi ko nga sa inyo, naging guest kayo dito because it's a request, no, to guest you actually. And of course, we invited Doc Castor here, no, to warm, no, to warm the discussion, no. Doc Castor, of course, we're so thankful for you na nakasama namin kayo ngayong evening na ito. So yung sa mga papaunahin natin ang guest natin because apparently Noreen is advised by her doctor, no, that you're not allowed to stay late at night, no, bawal sa
It's
bata.
the Zoom screens for 2 years. It's been affecting my yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot of headaches at this time. Yeah.
Yes, so sorry Noreen, no, kasi usapan namin din only up to 10:30 but we exceeded by 30 minutes.
Okay
But
lang po.
kasi,
Yeah, the conversations are also very interesting. So we're also thankful for the invitation and thank you for having us. Yeah.
all right.
Thank you
So
po.
thank you so much, Noreen and Claire, the Panublix founders, and of course, certified feminine genius. Thank you so much.
Thank you po.
All right. So, Doc Caster, nakamute ka yata. Di kita naririnig.
Thank you din, Dr. Ria. I'm about to sleep too kasi aga pa tayo bukas. I have to prepare for my
Ayan, oo.
show. Oo.
Yes, of course, don't forget our viewers, watch Dr. Castor's show, Pinoy Scientist, at Radyo Agila. Every Sundays at 5 p.m. Right? So, Doc
Yes.
Castor, thank you so much for gracing the show. I hope to see you one of these days for your birthday trip. Next week, kita tayo.
Sige.
Bago kami
Salamat.
lumakad ni Ella sa Asia.
Kailan ako pwede ba sumama? Sige. Okay, bye-bye. Ingat-ingat.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Doc
Congratulations.
Caster.
Bye, Ella.
Wow. For sure, ang daming learnings ng viewers si Doc Ria. Tingnan natin.
Shout
Nakamute
out
ka
ka
yata.
muna. Shout out ka muna, Ella, and then mamaya may Pinoy Henyo, may iniwan silang questions. We continue with the Pinoy Henyo after your shout out. Hello,
Yeah.
Anne!
Ayo. Hi, Ann. Namiss ka namin, Ann. Ayan. Kamusta, Ann? So,
Hello
shoutout
po,
muna ako
good
dito,
evening
no?
po.
Hi. Ay, wala si Ma'am Ria.
Okay naman po.
Ayun. So, it's good to see you again and I hope so na nakapag-invite ka rin ng friends mo, no? Kasi, na-miss ka nila. So, actually, kanina while watching po the guest of Dr. Ria, na-inspire ako sa kanila. So, later, magbibigay ako ng comment. But for in the meantime, no, I would like to shout out the viewers of Dr. Ria Liza out there, no? Mega love shoutout sa all of you, especially yung mga viewers po dyan na loyal. Every Saturday talaga nandito. Thank you so much. And to all of the team helpful, thank you so much for tuning in. And I would like to shout out in nung nakikita ko yung active na mga viewers po ni Doc Ria. So, nandyan po sila DJ Heartbeats, PH1, and Shouting Team Helpful, and also Chofis World, ayan, Loki's Sanctuary, ayan, Pauline's TV, thank you din po sa atin mga guest. Thanks sa learning po. Thank you din Pauline's TV. Thank you din po Doc Caster. God bless po. Mega love shoutout to all. Ilonggas din. Ayan, sabi ni Pauline's TV. And shoutout po kay Sir Ronel Ramos and also may nakita ako kanina kay Rainbow's Channel. Ayan, thank you so much for tuning in. Kaon by TV. Um, Bagdoy Girls. Ayan. And Mami Erlinda Cadillo, Sir Javier Centeno. Mega love shoutout sa all of you. And the rest of the viewers po of Dr. Ria Liza na via Facebook Live ng The Feminine Genius and The Feminine Genius Group Philippines. Ayan. To all of you, thank you so much for up to this moment you are staying no in this live streaming of Dr. Ria Liza. So we're so grateful and hopefully we can give back no to all of you, especially yung mga members na po ng The Feminine Genius through the livelihood of Dr. Ria Liza na who are about to start very soon na po. And yeah, excited din kami sa magiging journey po ni Dr. Ria Liza na magiging part din po kami, no? Hopefully si Anne soon sa kanyang ilo-launch na book. So shout out to all of the team na sinalihan ni Dr. Ria Liza, especially yung very supportive na team niya, and yung Ritz International Main, and then Team Shine, Marites team, and then Lipat Universe, and ayan, hindi ko nakabisado yung iba. So shoutout sa all of you, and baka may hindi ako nakitang shoutout po dito no ng ating host. At mga viewers kanina. So, mega love shoutout sa all of you. And thank you sa pagstay ninyo up to now. So, we are about to start the Pinoy Henyo in a minute. Please invite more friends. Baka naman, no, sila pa yung maswerte na mananalo. So, good luck sa mga winners po tonight. And may utang pa kami ni Ma'am Ria, no? Parang 2 Saturdays po, Ma'am Ria, ang utang natin. Kasi sobrang busy lang. So, hindi ko siya, ako yung may fault kasi naging busy lang talaga ako sa additional responsibilities ko this month. And yun din, may mga inaasikaso kami talaga ni Ma'am Ria. So, hopefully tomorrow I can compute and I can send all the GCash to all winners. Ayan. Hi, Ma'am Kat. Hi, Sir Ronel. Back to you, Ma'am Ria and Anne. Na-miss namin si Anne.
Yeah, miss ko namin last week. Okay. So bago tayo magkwento ng tatlo, magpipinoy henyo tayo. They give us the questions. I hope that I can give a very good
Si Ma'am na yung magbibigay ng clue.
yes, okay. So number 1. Yan. Ready na tayo. Number 1
Ready
word.
na.
Number 1. Startup company. A tech-based company. A company.
Naku, hindi ko alam yung spelling kaya hindi ko alam. Nabasa. May technique dyan. Basahin nyo yung post ni Ma'am Ria.
A company. A startup company.
Galing. Go, sis Chofis Universe, Sir Ronel.
A startup company.
Silipin niyo na yung post ni Ma'am Ria. May winner na ba?
Ayun, meron na. Ayan, nauna na si Ronel.
Galing. Nakadata lang kasi si Ma'am Kat.
Oo. BG pa sikat niyan. Okay. Panublix, yes. Okay.
Yay! Congrats, Sir Ronel.
And number 2, the main line product or the main product that is being promoted by Panublix.
Ano ba yung Panublix, Ma'am?
Panublix is the
Sorry,
name of company. Name ng company nila.
Nag-Shopee ka? Ano yun?
Name ng company nila.
Okay.
Hindi ka nakikinig.
Biglang nag-ano yung boses mo. Name of the company pala nila yan.
Alright, eto na, may
yung
sagot na. Textile, yes. Congratulations, Pollens. Alright, word number 3.
Right.
Word number 3, saan ba explain ko to? How do you call when you are being trained and supported by a company, that company, you are being trained and supported by a company to help the startup fly or become the startup successful in the market, or to help the startup have high earnings, have funders, okay? To help the startup be on their own, to help the startup be effective in commercialization. Ayun, may napala sagot na. Wait. The answer is incubate. Ay, hindi. Ano yung tawag doon? Sorry. Wrong spelling. Anong tawag na when you are when you are put in a program to help you to become a successful startup company? What what is being done to that company when you are being trained or supported so that you become a successful startup company. Tama na yung kanina, medyo may iba lang. Eto na, Ronel. Sorry, Ianela. But the right word is incubation. Yeah, incubation. Thank you, Ronel. All right.
All
Next
right.
word number 4. If they are um if they are offering or helping the textile industry, who are the users of this? If they are helping the textile producers, who are the users of this? Who are the users? Who are the users of the textile? Who are the users? You can do that. Sige pa. Who are the users of the textile? Di ba dalawa yung pinag-meet nila, di ba? Supply chain di ba? Yung isa, textile. Yung kabila, sino user? Sino user? Sino user? Sige, ayun. Ayun po. Ay, nako, na-late ang taga galing ng Singapore. So na-late ka. Ay, teka lang. The correct answer is designer. Designer. So, sino na una? Hoy, Ronel, mukhang nagiging ano ka ngayon, ha? Valedictorian. Ronel is the first one, no? Tama. Designer. Congratulations again, Ronel. And this is the last word. How do you call Panublix? Panublix is a blank. Panublix is a blank company. Panublix is a blank company. Ayun. I saw already an answer. A startup company. Okay. Para lang ulit for the benefit of the viewers, actually, na-define na natin yung startup in so many episodes. A startup company is not necessarily a new company, okay? A startup company is a company engaged in innovation. So if a company is engaged in innovative product, innovative services, innovative business model, then you are a startup company. So kahit 10 years ka na nag-exist pero you're into innovation, you can still be called a startup. Alright. So yun yung ginagalawan ko ngayon, the startup space. Giving support to the startup students and faculty members. Alright. So thank you for all the winners. Sana masikaso na ni Ella. This week, mabigay na natin yung ating mga prizes for the last 3 weeks. Okay, so, nako, nagpapadala sila ng mga coffee. So, punta tayo, oo. Na-miss natin si Anne. Anne, can you tell us, ano mga pinagkaabalahanan mo ng mga nakaraang araw?
Ayan po, since dumaan ang Holy Week po, so every week po ko nandito sa lola ko po. Kasi mas malapit po dito yung church. So natatapos po kami sa practices po namin around 9 p.m. po, ganon. So tamang balance lang po ng ACADS, tapos sa publication po, and yung sa Feminine Genius po.
Kasi kanina nung nagsasabi na very religious kasi si Noreen So talagang palagi yung naalala ko kayo dalawa ni Ella. Kasi super religious kayong dalawa, no? So mahalaga kasi talaga yung service natin to that church. Naalala ko rin nakita ko kasi yung mga picture ni Anne, Ella. Nakasuot siya ng mga parang Marian ba tawag ko? The costume that you're wearing.
Yung kahapon po ba?
Yes.
Opo, yung kimona po.
Ah, saglit ha, di ba
Kahapon
naging,
po, kaya po kami naka-costume po.
di ba teacher
Yes
mo
po.
si Ronelda?
Yes po.
Di ba saan? Sa Espiritu Santo ba?
Sa PLM na po. Senior
Sa
high
PLM.
school.
Okay. Alright. So, so ang dami kong key takeaway. Guys, tawag dito, nakaka-inspire sila kasi 'di ba mga bata pa sila, 30 plus lang. Yung kanilang Panublix, guys, yung mga hindi naka-tune in kanina, no? Is a startup company that started from their capstone sa kanyang masteral course. MIB ang tawag, Masters in Innovation Business, no? That is in AIM. So yung capstone nila, yun yung ginawa nila startup company. Tapos hindi nila iniisip na magkakaganon sila, no? Maingay ba yung background ko, guys? I'm sorry, Maingay ba yung background ko?
Hindi masyado, ma'am. Sakto lang.
Okay. So, yung kanilang, imagine April 2021, nang start nila yung startup company nila. And now it's 2022, naka 1 year pa lang. This company, Panublix, already gained a lot of mga awards and recognitions na, no? Because of the business model that they offer. Kaya yung mga kaninang nakikinig sa atin, yung mga bagong kaka-tune in lang, ang model nila is they offer the supply chain, no? From those that are weavers, yung mga textile, kasama yung mga threads, di ba? Lahat ng mga involved in the sustainable market, nililink nila sa mga designers. Okay? So ganun ang kanilang business model. And then, marami silang mga ipapang igagawing mga development in the near future to further develop or improve their product. So, quite amazing kasi in just less than 1 year, that starts from the capstone. Yung capstone nga kasi ang tawag sa thesis, no? Noong araw, thesis ang tawag. Ngayon, capstone ang tawag. That project, that company that starts from thesis has earned about 1 million, no? Yun ang pinag-usapan kanina. In less than a year, nagkaroon na sila ng revenue na worth 1 million. So imagine that, Ella, no? So that's quite a blessing. Kaya ngayon mas pinag-iigipan nila para mas maging na sila self-generate, sustaining company. 'Di ba nakaka-inspire? So it's about time also that all of us should be thinking of startup companies already. Na katulad yung kanila, hindi masyado machine extensive, pero madami sila natutulungan. Alright? So, naalala niyo ba yung guest natin na si
Yung
youth
nagbigay sa
advocate?
yung may mouse, yung may, ma'am?
yung damit na may
Oo, parang yun nga when I check
ah,
the Panublix sa website, sabi ko, ay, same nung concept nung niya, pero iba lang sila ng design. Oo, parang
kasi,
ko.
si Jeneline Dingalan. Youth din yun nasa parang less than 30 years. Parang 26 years old lang siya, Siya naman ay naglalabas siya ng mga damit, mga polo blouse, polo shirts, na meron kasama mga weave, native weave.
At saka
So,
face
siya ay
mask.
designer. Saka face mask. So, parang siya yung designer. So, in other words, kung kukuha ng supplier si Jen, pwede siyang doon sa Panublix.
Panublix,
Oo. So,
Yun.
instead na ikutin pa nila yung buong Pilipinas sa iba't ibang mga designs, eto na si Panublix, siya na yung gumagawa ng supply chain.
Yes, yun nga mo nakita ko. Maganda nga siya. Yun. Bagay sa mga nanay na walang work. Bigay mo sila ng work na gano'n.
Yes, tama. At saka, Ella, announce mo yung ano, yung anything goes.
Yeah, so by the way, ma'am, no, dahil may anythinggoes.com na tayo or anythinggoes.shop, so yung mga products po ni Panublix, possible din po na mailagay na rin doon sa anythinggoes.shop. Tama ba? Anytime soon.
I think, meron silang sariling e-commerce platform eh. Going in
Yeah.
that direction, matapos na yung e-commerce nila.
I
May
see.
e-commerce
Okay.
sila. Kasi kumukuha din sila ng mga products na ilalagay, tapos nililink up nila sa mga designer.
Medyo maingay yung pusa sa amin ngayon na pero I'd like to mention that um anytime, anywhere, we can access na po the website of the Feminine Genius, and that is the anythinggoes.shop. Ayan, so um, as simple as go to or visit anythinggoes.shop, register as a vendor, wait for approval by admin if you would like to become an entrepreneur or a vendor na meron kang product din na idadagdag doon. Ito po yung instruction na pwede mong gawin or steps. Visit the website anythinggoes.shop, register as a vendor, wait for approval by the admin, log in to account, choose the product to sell. So, yung products po ng anythinggoes.shop, nag-grow po yan in time because remember yung mga guest po ni Ma'am Ria na may mga kanya-kanyang products ay makikita na rin po natin 'no at mabibili natin dito sa anythinggoes.shop. Ayan.
Yes, I'm actually looking Ella sa mga pwedeng mag-part-time para maasikaso yung mga uploading of the photos, uploading of the products, no? Medyo
Yes.
hectic din kasi yun eh, di ba? So,
Baka hindi ko kayanin, char.
I'm still also looking for that eh. 'Di ba? Tapos dapat yung mga past guests natin, maisa-isa na natin sila, mabalikan natin sila isa-isa para matanong na natin yung mga product na pwede nating ma-sell. Kasi patrabaho din eh. Imagine you have to ask them, get the photos. Yung mga photos, kailangan maganda yung photos, at least high resolution dapat yan. So that it become very attractive to our customers. So dami pa natin iba-backtrack, Ella. Dami natin iba-backtrack ni Anything Goes. Merong libro, meron kami book ni Anne, no? And so on and so forth. Para ang dami-dami natin kailangan i-backdrop. I hope I have 48 hours a day.
Oh. Masyado kang workaholic.
Nakasabay pa nung chat natin, no, Ella. Nako,
yeah, enjoy lang.
Aalis kami, Ann. Aalis kami ni Ella. Pupunta kami sa siyam na bansa.
Let's use the term pohon para maayos magiging maayos at safe ang travel.
Pero magla-live pa rin tayo nun, Ella. I decide it in a way na during the time of our life, it's either we are on the airport or in the hotel.
Alright.
So guys, abangan nyo kami. Magla-live kami ni Ella in different countries. So we will go from Philippines to Singapore, Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, uwi, tapos alis ulit going to Indonesia and Brunei, and then Philippines. Diba?
Yeah.
Grabe, Ella. Oo.
Sana si Judith, ma'am, ay mapuntahan niya rin yung lahat. Binanggit mo. Kasi siya yung overall coordinator, so dapat nandun siya sa lahat.
Hindi niya mapupuntahan lahat yun kasi wala siyang funding.
Okay, sabi ko sa kanya, hindi, si Ma'am Ria naman lilibre sa'yo dun sa 2 bansa. Sige na, ma'am, kasi siya yung ating parang director dun sa hotel.
No, pinakamahal. Ang may assign doon sa mga hotel, yung mga project lead, yung mga naka-assign na team member. Okay.
Ayan. So, Judith is watching right now.
Yeah, Judith, I hope you're watching right now.
Sabi ni Sir Ronel, baka naman. So, sariling expenses niya, sasama na siya. Maaari ba yun? Apprentice yan.
Oh, sarili. Yes, pag sarili niya, pwede siya sumama.
Oo, mamimili ka lang kung anong bansa. Yung binanggit ni Ma'am Ria. O, dali na, Sir Ronel, PM na lang. Pag sa meeting, sabihin mo yan. Ayan. Sabi ni, sino ba to? Pollens TV. Pwede sila mag-collaborate. Ayan, join force. Ay, ano yan? And, si Arlie, nag-iba ng name si Happy, Sir Ronel. Naku, paano ba yan? Nag-Arlie na siya. Arlie na
Arlie,
siya.
ano?
Oo,
Hindi,
si Happy
Arlie.
yan.
Hindi, may ginamit din si Happy kanina. Dalawa yung, may Happy din kanina, di ba, Happy?
Hi, Happy. Nag-iba ka na ng name ata. Ang dami mo ng angels. Hindi na Happy. Dati kasi Happy, tapos yung team. TV, tas Happy, blah, blah. May parang Happy 1, Happy 2, Happy 3. Oh, Sir Ronel, go na yan. Kasi yung work from home mo, gagawin natin yun doon sa ibang country. Bibigyan tayo ng time naman to still check and do our tasks, yung work from home natin sa school. Kasi saglit na naman yung pag-visit and then after that, gawa ng report and then work from home. And then syempre, hindi maiwasan yung mag-swimming. Ay, sabay ganun.
Swimming.
Good evening to all from the fishing adventure. Ayan.
Hello, Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie. How I wish na mapunta din namin yung Oman. Char. Layo na niyan. Lalo na si Rain Rose, ang layo na no? Si Rain Rose Channel. USA.
US na.
Ayun.
Okay.
Ano lang kami, ASEAN.
Oo, ASEAN na. Actually, ngayon, gusto kong malaman yung, nagpupunta ka na ba sa school? May face-to-face na ba? Ano balita sa face-to-face, Ann?
Hindi pa po kami nag-face-to-face, pero may inasikaso po ako sa publication last month. Etong lang po, April. Tahimik pa din po yung school.
Pero meron na ba sa inyo dinidiscuss about the possibility of face-to-face? Meron na kayong alam?
Hindi daw po ready yung program po namin.
Ready? Hindi ready? What do you mean hindi ready?
Priority.
Hindi priority.
Priority po, ma'am. Opo.
So, ang priority sa
priority
face-to-face
po ng school is yung may
Yes, yung may laboratory.
engineering, architecture, hospitality management, nursing, medtech po. Yun ang priority po
How about
nila.
IT, programming, char?
Hindi kasama IT. Sabi ni
Nakaano na din po sila siguro.
Maganda daw doon sa Oman. Yeah, I'd like to be there sa Oman. Baya mo. Pagpapa-fund kami.
Ayun. Bakit daw walang Hong Kong, Ma'am Ria? That's the question of Sis Choffy.
So, promise, pag pumunta ako sa Hong Kong, kakain tayo sa airport. Yung masarap na Chinese restaurant doon sa airport. Grabe, in love ako sa pagkain doon.
China oil.
Sana makapunta na tayo ng Hong Kong. Limited face-to-face na. Face-to-face ka na, Ronel?
Parang pumapasok na yan eh. Sa school.
Si Ronel, nakita ko si Ronel pumasok, wala siya estudyante, siya lang.
Sila lang nandoon sa school. Yung
diba,
mga students.
Ronel? Pumasok ka, wala ka estudyante, ikaw lang mag-isa sa room. Bakit nag-aksaya ka pa ng panahon pumasok?
Grabe ka, Maria.
Ang tawag doon, super limited face-to-face. Walang pumasok sa... ba't ganun, Ronel? Yes, limited face-to-face. Hindi, super limited face-to-face. Asan yung mga estudyante mo? Ba't wala? Diba? Ang weird. Walang estudyante. Pero, Kung hindi priority yung course nyo, and so meaning baka kahit first term wala pa kayong face to face. First term of next academic
Baka
year.
po ganun po.
Ganon na mangyayari. So kayo parang extended yung pagiging.
Ano po, ang sabi naman po, antay lang po ng announcement. Pero wala po talagang clear na instructions po kung kailan kami mag-face to face.
Alright. So, ano naman sabi ni Ronald, wala pa sila nung nag-selfie.
Oo, hindi pa dumating yung students. Nag-selfie na siya.
Ronald, can you explain yung definition of limited face-to-face? Ano yun? If you have 40 students in the laboratory, kasi lab mo na. In one section, if you have 40 students, are the 40 students allowed to go to class face-to-face? Paki-explain nga yan. Kasi ang dami naglapasan na jargon of words. Merong flex, merong online, merong distance learning. So, ano pa ba pagkakaiba ng distance learning sa online? Magkakaiba pa ba sila? So, limited face-to-face, if you have 40 students in one section, are all 40 students required to go to school? Yun ang tanong ko.
No. May batch 1, batch 2 yan for sure. Kasi nga, maliban na lang kung ang computer nila ay sa isang classroom. Meron sa online, meron face-to-face sa OC. May options pa rin. Kasi ang social distancing dyan.
So meaning the students will select, will choose if online or face-to-face, and there is no impact in the grades?
Matagal siya mag-type. Ako kasi ang idea ko dyan, kapag ang student, naka-cellphone lang siya sa bahay, obligado yun na mag-face-to-face kasi may laboratory na magagamit dun sa school. Pero if the student have computer at home na high-end, maayos ang specs, ayun, yun ang mga talagang online class. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng students ngayon ay talagang may mga maayos na computer at home. Anong sinabi niya? Wala naman.
Hindi, ibig sabihin ng wala naman, ang ibig sabihin niya dito, wala namang impact sa grade.
Impact sa grade.
Online or face-to-face. There's no impact in the grade.
Ako ang estudyante sa online na lang ako.
Hindi, Ella, kami sa Don Bosco pinapili kung online or flex. Yung flex, papasok ka ng 1 week, tapos 1 week ka na sa bahay. Yung isa naman purely online. Pinili ko na yung flex.
Mm-hmm.
Ayoko na nakabahay lang. Baka mabuburyong na. You know the word buryong.
Yes. Baka mainip or something. Mabait sila sa akin eh. Char? Wow, lakas mo. Ma'am Ria, is it possible, no, if, Sir Ronel and I, with you, will be collaborating to, to write a book, pero related dun sa CHED research?
Yeah, pwede naman.
Considered yun as parang, one of the publication.
Yes.
Pag natapos.
Kasi identify, pwede,
Kanina lang namin nag-usapan.
Lalo na if Ronel can identify a topic on the thesis. Tapos, then we can just tweak it or just one part of it, and then we can add some more and publish. Marami naman kasing publication. Kasi baka nalilito si Ann ni pinag-uusapan natin. By the way, Ann, meron kaming CHED-funded research ang National University together with Adamson University and other universities. Kasama yung FCPC, yun yung school.
Yes.
Ni Ella. Hindi ka nanood last week eh. Kasi last week, ang guest namin, yung boss ni Ella.
Shout out kay Doc Etchel. By the way, na-approve na po. Thank you sa President. In-approve na po ni Doc Star yung funding support po ng Cluster 2.
Cluster 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Pero
all right.
pag-uusapan on Monday kasi parang ano 'yun, may return of service 'yun siyempre.
Yes, all right.
'Yun.
So, meron kaming research collaboration, and then part of this research is sa ASEAN. We will be traveling to all the 10 countries of the ASEAN. Kain ako ah.
Sana all kumakain. Wala pang dinner 'yan, eh.
Wala pa ang dinner.
Ma'am,
Kaya,
sino
yun.
pala ang ano, magpapa-coffee kasi may mga nag-send ng
Hindi
coffee
ka.
dito.
Right coffee, right coffee.
Oh, right coffee, guys. Kasi ilan na naman yung up to this moment na nag-stay. Ayan, kayang-kayang magpa-coffee ni Ma'am Rian yan. Go, go, go,
Right
go.
coffee.
Meron pa tayong sisingling coffee, di ba, kay Mami? Yung The Feminine Genius na meets the mother. May pa-coffee
Yeah,
pa yun si
oo.
Mami. Kiklaim pa natin
Yes.
yun.
Correct. Si Doc
Tapos si
Edsel ba
Ann.
may? Si Doc Edsel ba may pa-coffee?
Nahiya ako, ma'am. Baka hindi na ako
Galing
marunong,
ka
ma'am.
ng trabaho.
Hindi na ako nag-comment nung sinabi mo na, Doc Edgel, magpapa-coffee ka ba? Hindi na ako nag-comment. Baka mabigla si Doc Edgel. Ayun,
Uy,
Sir
Ella.
Ronel.
Naalala ko tuloy si Choprol. Ibigay na natin yung sa cellphone niya.
Hindi,
Remind mo na ako.
ko-convert na yun into cash.
Oo nga, to cash nga. Yung
Oo.
pinag-usapan natin.
Sige, bukas, ma'am. Ino-note ko nga dito.
Nakakalimutan
Shopee,
na.
ha? Ayan, ino-note ko na, oh. Shopee.
Baka mag 2 years anniversary yun.
Shopee cellphone. Ayan, to be converted na into cash. Kay Sir Ronel, nabigay na. Kay Shopee, hindi pa.
Iba kasi ano nun eh.
Ay, oo, kasi yung sponsor ni Sir Ronel mabilis, eh. Congrats, Sir Ronel, ha? Grabe, ang laki ng napanalunan mo, ha? Yung 2 nights mo sa Tagaytay, naging cash na, ah. Bigay naman. Hindi pa nakakapang-treat sa akin yan. Marami ng utang sa akin yan.
Kami ganun no.
Si Sir Ronel.
5 years anniversary. Pabuti natin ng 5 years. Sige, pabuti natin.
Ayan. Bakit parang wala yata si ano ngayon, Ann? Yung ano mo, supporter mo, loyal supporter mo. Nag-LQ ba? Or nasaan ba siya?
Ano, tayo po yung tita po niya.
Ay, ano?
Namatay?
Nag-Shopee siya eh. Ano na?
Namatay, Ann?
Yes po.
Ay, sorry
Yung
to hear
tita po
that.
niya na nasa Israel po. Yes po.
Oh, condolence to the family of
Kahapon lang po
Nathaniel.
kasi dumating po sa Philippines po.
Oh, that's sad. Oo, grabe. Thanks do sa sponsor, ma'am.
Condolence, Anna. Yeah, thank you to JR.
JR.
Josephine Bard. The
Ma'am
the doty
JR.
daughter. The doty daughter.
Toti daughter of
Doty
Joseph.
daughter. Joseph Estrada. Oo. Thank you, JR.
Bongga. May utang pa na Starbucks sa akin yan. Kasi nag-West paper yan. Tapos, daming racket yan. Ayun. Si Sir Ronel lang nag-type ng coffee, tsaka sa Tiffany World, tsaka
Ang
sa
dami,
Chocolate
ah.
Future. Ha?
Ang dami
Marami
na
ba?
nag-type kanina. Guys, type ulit. Ang dami na nag-type kanina. Type again, coffee.
Tiffany lang nakita ko, saka si Sir Ronel eh. Kaya tuloy
Ang dami na
ang,
kanina.
ang record ko dito, 2 lang. Sabihin naman nila, ang daya mo.
Time-step CPC daw. Oh.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you din, Sir Ronel.
Type coffee.
Si Tiffany lang, at saka si Choffy's Future.
Madami na
At
kanina
saka
kasi
si
nag-type.
Sir Ronel.
Guys, type ulit kayo. Di namin
Tulog na
titignan
siguro
mga
yung
type
iba,
na
kaya ayun.
Ayan si Arlie. Nag-type na.
Ayun si Arlie, pero si Kaon Tabay TV, Hindi pa siya nag-type ng coffee.
Si Bad Boy Girls. Type coffee.
Milk tea daw si Tiffany. Wow, so ay, mura lang ang milk tea ha, in fair. Sa McDo ka bumili para makamura. Hmm. Masarap din ang milk tea ng ng Chowking.
Talaga meron?
Yes, ma'am. Lalo pag pinadagdagan mo ng more milk. Ayan, shoutout pala kay Ma'am Sunga. Sa kanya ko na-discover yung milk tea ng Chowking. Hindi kasi ako mahilig sa milk tea noon. Oh, wow. 6 na yung nag-type. Dito sa listahan ko, 6 na po.
Okay, type coffee. So, kanina guys, dahil yung pinag-usapan natin is Panublix founder. So, we're talking about startup company or in other words, entrepreneurs. So, before we leave, we have 15 minutes left. Bawat isa na lang sa ating mga hosts, Ann, Ella, and ako. Kung hindi nyo man napakinggan yung discussion kanina of our guest, Noreen and Claire, and of course with Doc Castor. Of course, we would like to thank Doc Castor for being with us. Maganda pala may mga co-host tayong gano'n, no?
Yes.
Makahinga tayo. Maganda may co-host tayong gano'n. So, I would like to ask you, Ann and Ella, what are your takeaways in terms of how do you view, example, in the case of Anne, how can students like you become entrepreneurs, and what support do you think is needed for students like you to become entrepreneurs? Si Ella naman, I'd like Ella naman to tell us, what do you think as a faculty member, as a person in the academe, how can you become an entrepreneur, and also what are the supports that you need to become an entrepreneur? Okay, and do you have recent plans of becoming an entrepreneur? Okay, so sige, I'll give you time to think. Tapos ako naman, I will give the takeaway based on the discussions that were made by Noreen and Claire. Sige. So, sana yung mga nandito rin sa ating mga our guests should have may sasabi si habang nag-isip kami, pabulong naman ng muntik na panalangin mo for my son.
What's the name of your son?
Taken board exam civil engineering tomorrow, or civil engineering, so kabaro ko to.
Banggitin mo yung name, bro, para mas effective, no, kapag ipag-pray.
Okay, so are you talking of civil engineering in other country or in the Philippines? Kasi ngayon na ba yung sa Philippines ba ito? Okay. So, lagay mo yung name. We hope that your son passed the board exam for civil engineering. Ang sarap maging civil engineer, of course. Civil engineer like me. So, hope na magkakaroon ka na ng anak na engineer. Genie. Nasa Baguio siya ngayon. So, there is because there is the so-called, kung nasa Baguio siya, so which means, nagkaroon ng board exam on satellite sites. Is this, Genie, of course, they have to go to a school, no? Hindi sila, walang online. Pupunta sila doon sa testing site. And the name of your son is Mark Gian Duhina. We're praying for Mark Gian Duhina to successfully pass the board exam for civil engineering tomorrow. Yan, nakaka-excite.
Yun, sulat ko na yung name niya para hindi ko makalimutan.
Isama natin sa prayer natin mamaya. And for all our viewers, pagdasal natin si Mark Gian Duhina. I believe in prayers, Jean.
Yes,
kasi,
prayers power.
yung mommy ko, yung nagbo-board exam ako, nagdadasal siya habang nagbo-board exam ko. Gawin mo yun, Jeannie. Alamin mo yung time ng exam, magdasal ka ng the whole stretch ng exam. Buong araw yata yun. So, magpachi-pachi ka ng prayer while nag-e-exam. Prayer brigade ang tawag ko doon. Do a prayer brigade while nag-e-exam. Oh, ayun pala, dalawa. Yung civil engineer, yung pangalawa ko, third year. Oh, alright. So, may third year ka pa pala. Very good. So, saan pa ito nag-aaral? Sa SLU? SLU ba nag-aaral, Jeannie? Maganda ang percent passing rate ng SLU. Ayan, tama, nasa school for 2 days. So,
Yun.
yes, I hope that ano na yan, we claim it. Mag-prayer brigade kayo during the whole stretch of the exam. Magpalit-palit kayo. Asawa mo, si ikaw, yung lola, yung lolo, magbigay kayo the whole stretch. Alright, so
Sabi ni Sir Ronel, ma'am, prayer works. Pasado kami ni Ma'am Ella sa compre. Compre. Sorry. Yes.
mahirap ang kompre,
Sobra napiga yung utak ko doon kasi
Hindi-
limited
hindi-
yung
hindi
time.
simple yan. Philip mo ako kay Ella kasi habang nagko-kompre siya, nagla-live pa kami.
Ay, hindi ako nag-ano nun. Hindi ako umattend.
Ay, hindi ka pa umattend?
Nag-absent ako
Nag-absent
nun.
ka ba? Sino kapalit mo?
Si
Anna?
Anne at saka si Judith. Pero nandun ako, humabol ako sa sa chat. Doon ako nag-shout out.
Yeah, sa Bataan. Oo. So, they prefer to go to Baguio than Manila. Kasi satellite
Bataan siya
is
nag-aral.
Baguio, Manila. I know Cebu. I don't know the other. Okay? So,
May naalala lang ako,
namin
ma'am,
na
ha?
congratulations. Yes.
Oo, may naalala lang ako, ma'am, ha? Kasi kapag ganyan, na parang yung kiniklaim na natin na papasa siya at pagpe-pray natin, yung parents mismo, tsaka yung may katawan, yung mag-e-exam, pagpe-pray din yun at gumawa siya ng kabutihan. Naalala mo yung sinabi
Actually,
noon ng isang guest?
yeah.
Pantayan mo
Ako
ng
yun.
kabutihan din. Ay, ko ba yun?
Ako yun.
Kailangan may gawin kang mabuti.
Kailangan may
Kasi
kayo
humiling ka
mabuti.
sa Diyos eh. Alam mo naman ang Diyos, naghihintay din siya ng gawa natin na mabuti. Para
Kaya
ipagkaloob.
Kaya nung pumasa yung isa ko estudyante, sabi niya sa akin, Ma'am, pumasa ako kasi dami kong matanda, itinawid ko sila sa kalsada. Kasi kapag sinasabihan, gumawa ka ng mabuti, kasi yung luck, yung blessing, papasok sa'yo. It's not, siyempre nag-aaral ka, oo, pero dami kong kilala, galing mag-aral, di naman pumasa eh.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
so,
true.
Kailangan gumawa ng mabuti. Okay. Magpapakopi na, Rosie.
Hindi. Meron yan gagawin doon. Sa kasama mo, pwede kang gumawa ng kabutihan na bukal sa loob niya, di ba?
Yeah.
Pati yung
Correct.
mismong anak niya. Ayan. Sige, ma'am. Ano yung share mo?
So, mag-ano na tayo? Key take-away tayo for the remaining
Takeaways.
9 minutes. Okay? So, mag-upisa tayo kay Ann. Sige, Ann.
Ayan po. So, yung question nyo po is, as a student, kung paano po magiging entrepreneur and kung ano yung support na kailangan. So, for me as a student po, ang pinaka main support na kailangan mo is support from your parents. Kasi hindi po kayo makakagawa ng isang action or ng decision without consulting your parents if they are in favor of your decision. And kung willing po sila talaga na supportahan ka all throughout the process po. Kasi not all parents would understand the goal of their children. Pero it is also the role of the student to explain their parents about their plans and how are they going to execute their plans po. Then, as a student po, we can be entrepreneurs when we incorporate our passion with our business mindset. Kasi when you have your passion po, kahit mahirap yung process and medyo successful knowing na you are knowledgeable and alam nyo po yung ginagawa mo, not just about the process, but also about the circumstances that you may encounter throughout the process po.
All right. So I know that Anne really has some entrepreneurial mind because she starts selling her own books, no? So that's one sign of being an entrepreneur. And of course, we are looking forward to Anne having many books to sell. No? Swerte kasi yung mga ganun, nagsasell ka ng sarili mong work. Okay? So, go on with that, Anne. At saka sana marami ka pang magawa ng mga books. No? I remember one faculty at National University, si Engineer Romeo Tolentino, who is the author of the Calculator Techniques in Civil Engineering. Tanong mo sa anak mo, Jeannie, kung gumagamit sila ng calculator books. No? So those are techniques using calculators. Ang author nun ay professor ng National University, very well known around the Philippines. Ang dami niyang books, no? Doon pa lang, yung books bumuhay talaga sa kanyaan. Ang dami-dami niyang books na binibenta. So, every now and then, naglalabas siya ng new version of that book. Tapos, pag may lumabas na bagong calculator, scientific calculator, gawa na naman siya ng panabagong book. And that leads into him putting up a review center. So hindi niya na sinakop not only focus on the use of calculators but expanding it to offering the review center for the whole civil engineering review courses. No? So ganon. Ang daming magic kasi sa mga libro. I met one person and 2 weeks ago, ang kanyang advocacy is libro. You know what is minsan i-guess ko siya. Guys, namimigay lang siya ng libro. Namimigay hindi nagbebenta. Namimigay. Okay? Namimigay siya ng libro pero kumikita siya. So, yun, yung medyo yung matalinhaga doon. No? Pero, kilala siya for being that person na kahit saan namimigay siya. At may showroom siya of the books. Wala rin siya binibili ng books. Dumadating kusa sa kanya yung mga books na ipinamimigay niya. Yeah, Jeannie, tanong mo sa anak mo. Okay? So, thank you, Anne, for that. And Ella once.
Ayan. So actually, dahil nasa academia ko, ma'am, syempre dahil ang aking linya ay IT, more on, ang nakikita ko, no, yung magiging product ko na gusto kong i-sell is talagang siya, applications. And dahil YouTuber na rin ako, parang may nakita lang akong isang opportunity na in the future, yung brand ng product na halimbawa ma-develop po namin is dito sa YouTube din siya ipo-promote. Na kumbaga download na lang sila ng download, ganun, panoorin lang nila. And yun, mag-earn na siya. Hopefully, yung ganun lang ang pangarap ko. Pero in terms of funding naman, I'm not actually parang looking for yung big fund. Kasi parang nakaka-pressure din na, alam mo yun, ifa-fund ka nila and then eventually, di ba, merong ROI. So, parang mas better kasi parang nag-grow yung applications na unique. Kapag you started with parang yung experimental lang muna and then eventually makikita mo ay need talaga nila. So, bagang binibigay mo lang yung app na yon tapos ginagamit lang nila, nai-utilize. Ayun. So, may mga ganong app kasi ngayon. I won't name kasi alam naman ng mga yung mga generations ngayon na fan sila sa mga games. Kaya makikita natin, di ba, earning po sila doon. And may mga students na rin po kami na na-inspire na gumawa ng apps. Yun, parang yan yung linya ko na nakikita. And yung isa naman nasa heart ko talaga, ma'am, dream ko ito bigla ko na lang talaga na-realize. Kasi nga yung we grow up with farm din. Kaya parang nasa pangarap ko din na in the future, meron po akong sariling farm na rin. God bless you, Sis Ella, sa mga future plan mo. Thank you. Happy. Ayun, parang nakita ko lang na may mga opportunity pala na yung isang product, ma'am, na pagkain, yung galing talaga sa raw, yung ikaw yung mag-iisip, paano mo siya sustain, bawa yung tomato, ganyan. Eh, ako naman naisip ko nung nakita ko yung mga pagkain sa province, ay ang dami palang puwedeng i-preserve na pagkain para maibigay mo sa iba. When it comes to alam mo yun, may mga necessity na hindi kayang bumili ng pagkain, ikaw yung magsu-supply. So, at the same time makakatulong ka. So, yun lang, kasi para lang hindi masayang yung mga nabalitaan ko ang daming itinapon ngayon ng mga tomato at iba't ibang mga gulay. Kasi nga po, bagsak presyo at saka wala nang bumibili sa market dahil may dumating galing sa ibang bansa. So, yun lang yung isa sa mga nakikita ko na hopefully, pagtanda ko, magawa ko siya.
Yeah.
Ayun.
Alam mo, Ella, I remember one company in the US that does that model, no, wherein before the vegetables will become spoiled, they deliver it to whoever should be using it. Actually, that
Mm.
becomes a very profitable social enterprise. Social enterprise kasi tawag natin if the entrepreneur have social impacts. Social enterprise.
Social
Lalo
enterprise.
na kapag ka nag-a-address ka ng one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we have 70 Sustainable Development Goals. Pag in-address mo yung isa doon, or more of those, then you are already a social entrepreneur. In fact, that's the reason why I was awarded the Malasakit Award because my technology addresses 10 Sustainable Development Goals as per the evaluation of UNDP or United Nations Development Program. So that's why I have that award. So so go on with that yung tumutulong ka no kasi si Ella naman because Ella and Anne are both so religious to help no. Tapos yung pag-help mo yun yung mag-create ng business plan actually. Kaya minsan i-guess ko yung sinasabi ko sa inyo para malaman natin paano nangyari na isang taong namimigay ng libro, namimigay lang, eh nakakasustain ng kanyang everyday living. Okay? So, ako naman, before I leave, total it's 12 o'clock, my takeaway for our discussion with Panublix is that how I was amazed by how these two people, their friends, are actually discussing about vision boards, about their dreams. No? Sabi nila, para daw ma-reach mo yung dream mo, you have to tell it to one person. Kasi if you have a dream, you keep it to yourself, then you are not accountable. Pero if you have daw a dream and you let somebody else know it, so meron sa'yo nagbibigay na, oh, nare-reach mo na yung dream mo or not. But, wag na wag mong bibigay yung mga dreams mo sa mga tao. You think like, hindi naman worth it pakita sa kanila kasi sometimes they, instead of helping you, lalo ka pa nilang china-challenge. So, ang mahalaga lang is to have a good friend, a best friend. Well, the Panublix, with the two of them, nagkataon, mag-best friends sila. At the same time, business partners. Pero ikaw, if you have a best friend na hindi mo naman siya business partner, you want to share your vision board, please do so. Kasi ang sarap mag-usap ng future. Ang sarap din ng feeling na may isang nakikinig sa'yo na nakikinig and try to listen to your stories or vision or dreams. And there's somebody who would remind you of your dreams. So mag-umpisa na tayo. This has no age limit. In all of the people or mentors that I have met, I have met mentors. Always, the first thing to start your entrepreneurial journey is to dream. You need a vision board. If it needs for you to write it, to draw it, or to have pictures of it, put it in your laptop, in your cell phone, or however, basta dream. Okay, malaki, maliit, ang mahalaga, dream. If you have a dream, you're nothing. If you have a dream, you don't feel good. If you have a dream, you don't feel young. Kaya ina-emphasize ko kanina, I have a meeting with a patent, with the person who owns a patent in India about flowers. She's 60, but she told me she feels 20. Why? Because of the ideas that keep coming in her mind. If you're innovative, then you always feel like being young. Kaya payo ko sa inyo, guys, please, dream. And don't just dream. Write your dream. Draw your dream. Mahirap yung dream na nasa isip mo lang, no? Ay, ganito yung dream ko. No. Write it, draw it, visually. Yung nakikita mo talaga siya. Okay? Sige. So, hope that the lessons that we gain from Panublix really inspire all of us. And thank you for all those who type coffee. Wait for your coffee. Thank you sa lahat sa inyo, guys. And thank you, Anne and Ella, for catching up, no? So, I hope to see you again next Sunday. Because next Sunday is already May. So, I think next Sunday is Mother's Day. I think.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. So, tingnan natin kung ano mangyayari. Alright? So, thank you, everyone. Thank you for patiently listening to us. And please, sana you can invite some more of your friends to listen, di ba? Kasi masaya dito, may kapi ka na, may learnings ka pa, di ba? Matuto tayo. Ako nga, natututo pa ako sa storya nila. Older than them, pero natututo ako sa story nila. Alright?
Yes.
So, Anne and Ella,
Thank you, Ma'am Ria. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone. Good night.
bye,
Thank you
everyone.
po.
And
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Anne. In a count of 1, 2, 3. Bye. Good night.